Welcome, race fans, as we begin another season with the High Octane Sim Series. This is 10-4 Broadcasting, sponsored by Admin Box, bringing you the latest in iRacing. Last week was the preseason race at Los Angeles Coliseum, as we took a little bit away from that. Some drivers learned a lot about themselves, and all of us learned a lot what to expect from this schedule. That being that this series is not afraid to put any car on any track. Tonight is another story. 2.5 miles, these 27 drivers will put themselves and each other to the test. I would be talking none other than Daytona International Speedway. Many racers far and wide seek their first win here, the same way Lee Petty did back at Daytona 500 in 1959, and Dale Earnhardt, who we all know and love, back in 1998, after coming so close so many times. Let's get to these drivers tonight and the ones to look out for. Max Graphics Racings brings a lot of talent to the series with names like Martin Plute, Chris Darling, and Ben Mashburn. But Matthew Batby, last season's championship winner, will be looking to retain his title, and Brandon Fetterplace, last week's winner, after batting the whole time to get in the winner's circle here in the High Octane Sim Series. I'm your host, Patrick Morrison, and joining me tonight is Kynan Jones, and Timothy Hammond will join us just a bit later. But Kynan, stages are set here tonight at 42 and 84 out of a 130 lap race. There are 4 tire sets. It's pit strategy what we have in store tonight.
Track position at a track like Daytona or any super speedway, but Daytona being tighter than Talladega, if you can get your car just a couple positions ahead of potentially a wreck, you can be there in the end. So it's hard to say right now, but pit strategy ultimately will play a part in the race today.
Yeah, a lot of battles I believe we will see ensuing on the track, especially right up here in the first stages of, I believe, the first 15 laps, as everybody's going to start kind of bumping and banging, trying to figure out how to get out there and get out front at this point and really kind of see what each other has here in store. We knew, like I was saying before at LA Coliseum, it was kind of a mess. I think everybody was having a little bit of trouble learning these next-gen cars. You know, they're a lot wider, a lot different on the downforce aspect, and definitely tires here, Kynan, as you kind of see the tires just the fall off was so fast, and I'm curious to see how fast they fall off here at Daytona when these guys are getting up between 180 and 200 miles an hour.
With tires here, generally they don't really matter as much as other tracks, especially in this car. It's very forgiving, so we may even see drivers not take 4 tires, or any tires at all. But in doing that, if you pit under green flag and then you take no tires, but everyone else does, it's going to back you up. You're going to have no partners out there. You're going to be on your own, whilst the cars behind aren't going to be as quick as they could be, but they will catch you and just fly by you, even though you end up getting that track position. So it's hard to really say if people are going to take tires. I'd say the majority of the field are going to take 4, maybe even 2 tires, but tire fall off shouldn't matter too much.
Yeah, really, it's going to be a tough one out there so far, as I believe qualifying is just getting ready to wrap up, and we'll see these guys stage for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. So far, so good for Riley Hoots, actually out there in front, secured the pole so far. The admin of Haas here, Nick Alford, he's in second, Christopher Miller third, Brandon Fetterplace fourth, James Brosaker in fifth, Matthew Batby, who we, like I said, was last year's champion, sixth, Zach, oh man, I don't want to mess your name up there, but Rendenius, let's see, Anthony Monroe in eighth, Michael Cunningham in ninth, and really, what a way to round out the top part here with Isaac Emerson in the 10th position, followed by Jeremy Richmond and Martin Plute in the 12th position. So, you know, these guys, I see this coming to be a huge turnaround here tonight, seeing these guys being able to clump up and get their way forward. I think everybody's going to be definitely looking out there, trying to find their racer and figure out what, you know, where they place tonight, with it being so close to being the beginning.
Daytona is going to encourage tight racing throughout the entire race. There may be parts where we will single file, and there's going to be drivers who would rather just stay in the back just for the early stages and then try to be there in the end. So we might see some people fall off the back of the pack if they go a little bit too careful, but it just matters if you can be there in the end. If you can do that, you're in for a good shot at winning this thing.
Yeah, and really what you don't want to see up very, very in the beginning is 3 wide. You know, these guys gotta calm down, make sure, and I know everybody says it, and it's very a resounding saying all the time is patience, 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 and you've got to maintain rather than flying through here. You know, because these cars just don't heat up the way they used to. They don't draft the way they used to, and it's just that the way the new body style is just really hard to kind of wrap your mind around. As we see all 27 drivers here getting lined up and ready to go. Man, I love how some of these paint schemes out here are looking real sharp there, kind of. Like, check that out.
A lot of very pretty designs, but hopefully hopefully all the cars can keep pristine condition, but something tells me we're not gonna have that luxury.
Oh no, I don't think so, not at all. As we take a little look, as we remember Brandon Fetter placed there, placing first at the LA Coliseum for the preseason race, so he gets a little jump start, getting up there, up to the front. So, man, really, what a battle it is here. Seeing where he gets a start is getting to be in the front, in the front 2 rows. On the outside is going to kind of trip him up a little bit. I'm sure he'd want more toward the inside, and that would be really nice to see, is how they were able to kind of stack this thing up here.
Yeah, obviously you want to be on the inside, especially early on, with some people just trying to get into position to ride, but if you start on the outside, it's not the end of the world. The cars do allow you to be able to carry a fairly decent amount of extra momentum on the middle lane, so if they can get the high line rolling a bit, it is possible that he and the 95 should be able to get past and maybe even start taking over the race lead early on in this race.
Yeah, and gathering that race lead is going to be definitely difficult. One of the other drivers I pointed out, Christopher Darling, back here in the 14th position. So he is going to have his work cut out for him in that 11 machine there. And really, I'm curious to see what he has in store to get this thing pushed around, to work his way up front. But have no fear, he finds a way somehow. I've seen him come from 20th position, 18th, and in a matter of 4 laps is battling in the top 5. So don't count him out. As we got other drivers back here, Jack Wilkinson, Robert Jr., there in the 17th position. So, man, what a stacked field this is going to be.
Last time we raced here in the High Octane Series, it was a money race. There was only 14 or 15 cars, so basically double that amount. But we did go 60 laps under green flag, so I have confidence that we should be able to get some good, consistent, clean racing, but we're going to be coming to catch the green flag here with the Geico restart zone.
Yeah, man, really, what a way to start off this season here in the High Octane Sim Series. This is 10-4 Broadcast, and we appreciate you joining us as we are under green flag. First lap of the regular season. What an exciting way to get started there, as we already see a quick move to the inside there by the 89 car of Matthew Batby. Really, yeah, I've seen him make a lot of aggressive moves and kind of get this thing shaken up. As you see farther back in the field, these guys are trying to single file a little bit, but not up front. We have at least 4 rows double wide, taking this thing around the turns here, Kynan. And really, what a race! Look at that, as they're even getting down toward the bottom. Is a quick block there. Wow, yeah, look, what a great move.
The 20 gave the 95 a bit of a bump just to get up there, and that caused a bit of a check up. The 82 nearly caught the rear right of the 20, so very aggressive, but they kept it going straight, so it was a good move to get the 95 into the lead and start commanding this race, as the 20 is going to start coming on the outside.
Yeah, Nick Alford going ahead and taking the first lap of the season under his belt. So, man, it's already the first step towards success, is getting that first lap under the belt. Everybody calm, cool, collected, keeping it together. I mean, we are seeing some bumping and banging here, but this is the thing you'll notice with the next gens, is really what these cars can do. If, whether they can stay intact or they get pushed around. But as you see, Riley Hoots definitely staying there on the inside, keeping pushing there as well. So really, man, what a job here as we kind of take a peek at the 82 of Monroe there on the outside, trying to push Brandon Fetterplace up in the front. But that outside line just doesn't seem to have the speed that inside line is holding. But as I say that, here we come. Brandon Fetterplace working his way on the outside, but can Anthony Monroe hold him and keep him up front? Oh, man, as Anthony, unfortunately, is kind of left hanging out to dry as Brandon Fetterplace takes the lead, and now he's out in front here, kind of.
You see that as soon as the 82 got left out on his own, 89 is also just dropping back, deciding it's a bit too racy up front, but as soon as the 20 pulled down away from the 82, he just started to drop back, losing that momentum.
Yeah, and there may be no sense in really pushing that hard this early. Well, I mean, you do want to get out in front to stay away from that trouble, but we are only 3 laps in, coming up on lap 4, and really, you do see it kind of shuffling around. Isaac Emerson, working there back in the 10th position, has now worked himself up into the 4th, so you do see what these guys are kind of, being able to pick and choose where they want to go and work their way up to the front, if so, and if they want to. But really, I mean, you don't want to get jammed up there, probably, 7, 8 rows back. As you can see, these guys just, man, moving around, kind of bouncing around on and off the race line as we are working our way down the backstretch. Matthew Batby is actually back there in the 15th position. So you see he's gone ahead and moved on back and letting everybody kind of race in front of him, hold their own, and just kind of work his line. Do what he needs to do and see where he needs to be at what time here, Kynan. So yeah, some very interesting and different strategies you see here of guys, going ahead and pulling that infield, as some of you viewers out there see. They'll pull that infield, let the pack kind of pass them, but then kind of hang in the back. Let's go ahead, let's field the car, let's be easy on the tires, and turn it up here in probably 15, 20 laps.
91 is currently leading the charge on the outside lane, but without help, he's going to need the 16 just to close the gap if he wants any chance of catching back up, as the 24 did pull up, but it seems like it did cause a check-up, causing them to lose momentum. 92 able to take over the lead. We've had, 5 or 6 different people lead a lap now, so very competitive, but it's been able to keep it clean so far.
Yeah, really, what a wild race this is. As you see, Martin Plute, is up in the 5th position. Jeremy Richmond has worked himself up in the 8th. We do have Isaac Emerson, 10th position, now leading this race. So, man, he's got to be excited about that. He did have a little trouble there in LA Coliseum, if you don't remember there, kind of. He kind of kept getting spun around in that Valvoline car. But right now, the only thing he's spinning is those tires, working his way down that backstretch and keeping it out front, and he's enjoying what he's seeing.
These drivers are already bumping each other quite a lot, especially this early on. Just trying to claim track position, but you got to be careful when bumping someone. If you bump them a little bit too hard, it can unsettle. And then if the cars behind you start bumping you at just the wrong time, it can cause a wreck. So we just need to maybe dial it down a little bit on the bumping, but right now the 24 being able to command the outside again.
Yeah, and really, you do see some of these drivers who have raced with each other before. You do see Jeremy Richmond back there pushing Martin Plute there on the outside, but Martin goes ahead and moves out of the way. These guys do race in the NSRA series as well, kind of bumping and banging around, but they know kind of when to push and when not to push. But what you do notice is you do see these cars start getting into the turn, that they kind of fall off the track a little bit. You see them weave and bob real bad. It's actually, they're kind of doing some of this on purpose, is if you see like the 82 kind of fades up a little bit, he's actually using the aerodynamics to help drag him and slow him down a little bit. That way he doesn't push too hard and actually slide the guy out of control or get into him too much there. But in the case where you do see him kind of drop below that yellow line, that means he's getting too fast, and the aerodynamics is playing up on him. As you see right there, as it looks like Martin Plute kind of gets a little squirrely there, but he's back under control and back in the back up front here. But he's got Riley Hoots back in front of him. But we're gonna see if that inside line decides to kind of start pushing here. Oh man! As Jeremy Richmond makes a very aggressive move there toward the inside line, and I think Martin Plute just saw his life flash before his eyes.
The 98 not wanting to stay behind the 24, wanting to try take over the lead now, but the 24 is going to be able to have the help of the 16 behind him, so they're going to get the run through the tri-oval. Might lift off into turn 1, but the rate that the 24 is going, he's going to be back in the lead very soon.
Yeah, if my calculations are right, I believe we are to our 5th lead change here in the first 10 laps. So really, you do notice that a lot of these drivers out here are getting a chance, getting up there, getting that fresh air. As you can see, that 24 working his way back very, very far. So whatever he's got going on, that ain't working, because he's in the wrong line, and he's working his way toward the back. As we can see a few of those drivers kind of tumbling around there in the back, but we are staying up front where most of this battle is happening. Brandon Fetterplace trying to work his way on the outside, but he's getting a hard block there from another driver there. It looks like Matthew Batby may be getting in front of him, kind of slicing over, trying to get that outside line working again. So we'll see if Batby can get that thing moving, because these guys are just having a little bit of trouble getting that outside line to work.
You can see a lot more drivers starting to pull away from the outside. I say that as Batby decides to go up to the outside, going to lose a position to the 16, but as the run starts to evolve, they're just starting to figure where they want to be, and the bottom line is the safer line, and especially when there's 130 laps in this race. We do have one fast repair, fortunately, so if you get into a wreck and total your car, at least you can repair it.
Yeah, and a lot of leagues you see don't run fast repairs. They're very adamant about making sure if you're going to race dirty, we're going to make sure you stay dirty. As is that Jeremy Richmond working his way down pit road? Interesting. So we'll kind of keep an eye and see what kind of plan he has there. As you see Jeremy Richmond coming down pit road, so I don't know if he's having a little problem there, or if he's kind of trying to get a little different pit strategy working his way forward. But out there in the chat, Stellar Stella, one of our frequent viewers here, whoop whoop, full field of cars. So she's definitely excited about seeing how this race goes tonight. These guys spreading out definitely. Definitely kind of feeling the pressure here already, as we're coming up, working on lap 11 so far, Kynan. So you do see the field calming down here a little bit. You know, everybody kind of working, getting single file, and may have to take a little time. I'm not sure if any kind of tire wear is starting to set in already, or if these guys are just maybe picking a different time to plan their attack.
I'd say a lot of the more aggressive drivers, such as Riley, who's just figured it was still really early on in this race. There's no point on possibly wasting that fast repair, especially when things start to heat up towards the end, when there's going to be a lot more aggression. Going to be a lot more aggression at the end of the race, so just maybe trying to just start playing it smart, just start riddle off some of these laps. 7 getting a really good run. The 82 gives him a shove in the middle of the corner, getting the 7 fairly loose, but able to keep control. Outside line starting to come back around. So going to get to the 92's rear wheel, and as 95 is starting to blink out, which is not what the 7 or any of the Highline drivers want to see.
Yeah, and 82 of Anthony Monroe there. Really, he does need another pusher behind him to really get this outside line forming up a little better, to get these guys, collected and staying moving. But really, you just kind of see these top 7, 8 cars here. They kind of know what they got to do. They're working their way around, pushing down the front and back stretch. But really, you do see them spreading out and kind of staying away from each other during the turns. Really, kind of a smart move early in the race, so we don't need to push like we're on fire. Not like Martin Plute's paint job up front. But you do need to take your time and kind of place where you're going to be. A little shout out there to Nick Alford there. He's kind of blinking a little bit, so I think the driver behind him in the 7 car, Wilkinson, there, is having to be a little nervous about where he's going to be. So he may have a little bit of internet connection there, but it's typical for iRacing. A little connection here and there problems. That's nothing to be nothing out of the ordinary.
Just looked like a driver did get a little bit loose on the exit of turn 2. Luckily was able to keep control, but looks like they're maybe starting to get a little bit loose as the 7 cuts down in front of the 82, nearly spinning out, but luckily nothing ended up happening. For the most part, we are single file now.
Yeah, and the top 5, rounding out top 5 so far, as you do see Martin Plute, Isaac Emerson, James Brosicker, Brandon Fetterplace, Michael Cunningham in the top 5, really right now doing a fantastic job kind of keeping space to each other and kind of staring in that aerodynamic bubble right before the the wind starts crashing down and hitting you right in the windshield or in the front nose. Oh, looks like we got a car loose.
The 95 is continuing to blink worse, but it was the 7 that got loose behind the 95. Maybe got a little bit spooked by just watching him blink out, but was able to recover it and just lose a bit of track position, but he's kept his car in one piece. Still in the draft, might fall away just with losing that bit of extra momentum, but at least he's got a car still.
Yeah, wow, because we kind of noticed a quick flash there. Somebody was sliding as we got, it looks like a tumble up there on the front stretch. Oh, as we're just catching it.
Driver's still piling in. The 24 involved, it's not what he's gonna be wanting.
Wow, yeah, not good there, not good. Who in the world is smoking there?
Just watched the replay back on what had happened. There was fairly big netcode which pulled the 78 up into the field when he was getting lapped.
78?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll kind of keep an eye. Figure out where and what in the world we got going on here. Let's see what.
That was real unfortunate.
Let's see the 78 car. Here we go. All right, and we'll see if I can get a decent view of what in the world happened here as we'll go to our first caution replay here by 10-4. 78 right there, kind of clink. That rolls him up, and boy, it just starts collecting, guys.
The 9 probably wasn't expecting a car down there at the time, so just trying to keep it straight, but just dip below the yellow line ever so slightly, and then netcode made that much worse than what it really had to be. Unfortunate. Drivers that did get a bit too much damage can luckily take that fast repair, but lap 16, it's not what you want to see.
Yeah, and we're going to kind of cut here to the 24 car of Riley Hoots and kind of see what he saw at that time. Sees trouble, and then out of nowhere, a guy clinks him on the side and turns him around. As you kind of see through the mirrors there, he's all over the place. So I just, man. Boy, but hopefully that doesn't destroy his running tonight here, kind of, as you just see just the tumble up there. And really, he was up front, and then you see him back here in the, the 15th position. It just goes to show you the dangers of being back here farther in the field. So, really, he's going to have to work his way back up here. I believe right now he's in the 18th position, but he's working his way down pit as it looks like everybody's going to go ahead and take that pit stop. We see Martin Plute here, right side's up. All right, does he take 4? All right, he's going ahead and with 4. Some guys may be going ahead and opting for only 2. But Martin, I've seen him before. He doesn't really gamble a whole lot on tires. He likes that control factor of staying out front. But that's already one set of tires down here. So some of these guys only got 3 left to make it the rest of this race. And seeing that we're only on lap 18 here, Kynan, out of 130, this is gonna be some trouble here.
Yes, there's going to be trouble really anywhere. You've got to always be on your toes, especially on super speedway races. There's so much going on at any given moment, so you can never really have a chance to have a rest. Even when we're single file, all it takes is just a bad connection issue just at the wrong time and then it's all going off.
Yeah, really, what a what an issue, kind of being able to kind of see how well that kind of unfolded there. But really, you think some of these guys would be able to get out of the way, and then sometimes it's just unfortunate. You got just nowhere to go, as we saw with Riley Hoots as he's driving down the driving, and then all of a sudden, boom, somebody catches you from out of nowhere. It looked like I believe maybe the 9, I think, of Cunningham may have kind of tumbled up and got down into him. So really, it's really what happened there, but I am not sure. Out there in the chat, Stella is asking what happened to Jeremy Richmond. I am not sure, but it looks like his car went to the garage. So he came out here. He led a lap. He made an aggressive move getting up front there, but I am not 100% sure where where Mr. Richmond is. I'm hoping he may or may not come back, but seeing that it is showing him on the standings as out, he may be out of the race for tonight, unfortunately. So, yeah, kind of a bummer there. Seeing Jeremy kind of knocking it out there. I know he's pretty close to where, kind of in the Mid-East here. So he may have had a connection problem, or maybe one of these storms got him and kind of knocked him out. So it's kind of unfortunate, but we'll have to look for him next time around and see see him next week at New Hampshire is where we'll be at next week. So kind of take it from a large track like this to shrinking it down to another one. So, man, Isaac Emerson, James Brosecker, Brandon Fetterplace, Matthew Batby. I mean, really, up here in the front, I mean, not, to be expected. Nick Alford in 5th, Martin Plute in 6th. After taking those 4 tires, worked his way back a little bit. And just, man, you kind of got to think, what are we getting ready to see out of these drivers coming up to this green flag? These guys have now pit. We've now got fuel again. And, does the mindset stay the same? Do we run it and gun it and go like we were before? Or do we kind of keep it calm now, dial it in, because now everybody's kind of really where they need to be and need to go? As we are about to go under green flag with Isaac Emerson in the lead. Yeah, go ahead and answer me here, Kynan. I got to know. What do you think?
It's a race restart. If you're going to make up any positions, this is probably your best time to do it, as the 3 and the 8 and 9 easily pull out ahead and going to drop down below, leaving Isaac Emerson luckily able to stay on the low line and is going to be able to get better place behind him as a bunch of cars get a little bit loose on exit. But if you're going to make any track position, now's the time to do it. So some drivers are going to want to go forward, but at the same time, there's going to be some who's just going to want to take it easy and just drop back maybe a little bit.
Yeah, as you kind of see Martin Plute kind of heading that outside line there. Really difficult for him. But, boy, look at how some of these cars are coming off that outside. I guess those tires aren't quite tacked up yet, or if they're starting to get a little up into the marbles there, but really having a heck of a time trying to get around here. Wow, yeah, you just notice, everybody, how these cars just change as we go through the deal, through the rest of this race. But you see Martin Plute trying to get down there on Brandon Fetterplace as he's starting to march back. He's really got no help behind him here. As wow, careful, that car on the inside, better watch out there. Some of these guys kind of popping below that yellow line. That may be a kind of a dangerous place to be, but hopefully he's over the radio chat letting everybody know. But like I was saying, Martin Plute kind of, you see him snug down on Brandon Fetterplace there to use a little bit of door draft to help keep him where he is. Because without that push really behind Martin Plute here, he's kind of getting hung out. He's not really getting any help. And I believe that is the 84 car, I believe, behind him. So kind of having a hard time holding up there.
It's the high line. It just seems like a lot of the cars on the higher line is just having stability issues. So I'm sure once they start to feel out how a lot of cars getting loose, 7 getting extra loose again, dropping down below, able to catch it. But we saw this in the money race, especially in turn 2. The cars just got really loose on exit, so maybe just need to dial it down and be a little bit more careful. But when it snaps, it can just go all of a sudden, and you just need to hope that you're able to catch it.
Yeah, I want to make a correction. It was not the 84 car. It was the 2 car. Robert King, who was kind of behind Martin Plute there, getting a little loose behind him, and I think he's having a little trouble figuring out how that draft feels for him. You do kind of see his car wobbling around real bad there. Definitely feels a lot safer there on that inside line, keeping it together, looking good. But man, look at that, almost single file. Everybody here running down the backstretch, and just you kind of wonder, are these guys? Is this how the race is going to be? Are these guys going to stay single file? Is that how the next gens feel, or are these side by side cars like the old Cup cars?
From what I remember, single file is ultimate. As 45 comes down and is going to catch the 4's rear fender and put him in the wall.
Wow, and Ben Mashburn is not going to be happy about that. Oh no, and Max Graphics lost there. Hopefully he is able to put that thing together and get that thing back out on the track. Holy cow, yeah, he's folded up pretty bad there. And if I'm not mistaken, was that Chris Darling along with him? No, it was not. Okay. I just want to make sure, but yeah, wow. As we are going to work up that replay for you in just a moment. And Ben Mashburn, you got to think, man, he was racing, real good, real tight in there in that pile, and then just kind of got caught up. And I'm not 100% sure who or what happened at this point with the 4 car. And it looks like maybe we'll take a look here as you watch with us here, the 4 car and the 45 and the white and blue iRacing car there, kind of coming off here 4 here. And let's take a peek and see what exactly happens. Oh,
Looked
wow.
like he just got a little bit loose, and then he tried to keep the steering wheel straight just to try and let the car straighten itself out, but Mashburn was just in the wrong place at the wrong time there, and they just make ever so slight contact, and at this speed, it's very easy for it to be amplified. 99 getting a little bit damaged, just not being able to get it slowed down quite enough.
Man, and you really got to give it to Mashburn there. He really only kind of clipped the wall once there. And then after that, you kind of saw him just spinning down that backstretch, kind of playing with the throttle a little bit to keep it going. And once he's facing the infield, a little more gas, and then off of it when he gets away from the wall. So, I mean, really kind of a tumble there, seeing how he was able to keep it all together. But, definitely not where he wants to be. This is going to be an early pit stop for him. And, and kind of going to start running out of lives here, really, to stay out front, as this pushes him back below the 20th position, 21st at this point. So, he's going to have to, he's got a lot of field to make up, but I've seen Ben Mashburn, as soon as he can get hooked up with all his Max Graphic buddies out there, these guys actually, they turn and burn and get working up front. So, I know I've raced with Ben Mashburn before. He's a heck of a pusher. And I'm glad to see him really sticking it out here because, just an early wreck here on lap 20, 24, 25 is heartbreaking, is disheartening as you go, and you kind of want to see more of him out there. But, he'll be out there, but he'll just be farther in the back here, kind of.
Yeah, it's disheartening when you get into a wreck this early on, but it seems like he got relatively low amounts of damage, so he is at least going to be able to get most of his damage repaired. If this was the old version of this car before the last patch, then the damage may be suffering throughout the entire race, but luckily the engine is now built like steel, so it should be able to rub off and he should be able to make his way back in. It's still very early on. If he did go a lap down, he should be able to get back fairly simple because there's going to be more cautions. The drivers are probably going to start trying to calm down a little bit. There's going to be somewhere just going to continue being aggressive, but more caution still to come. Long race ahead. You may as well stay out there, maybe gain a couple positions later on when people start to use their fast repairs, and then they have to be stuck in the pits doing repairs. So, yeah, it's disappointing to be involved this early on. It's not the end of your race, though.
Yeah, and really, it's great to see that fast repair. Because, he may have been taking this thing to the garage, to the infield car care center, where, nice little shout out here, for Captain Jack's Smokehouse. Man, probably they have that looking right there, right next to the ambulance, but not just yet. No Captain Jack's Smokehouse just yet. We are still underway and under racing. Go ahead and check them out. They're willing to make any kind of food for you. But to stay awake, we gotta give a shout out to Dubby here of the Jittlerless Energy Blend of the century is what I say. Is you mix this with a little bit of water and bam, you got an energy drink that doesn't give you such a hard crash that ones like Red Bull do. And to our sponsor and their sponsor as well, Admin Box. One of those things I've got to say you've absolutely got to have as a league owner or an admin administrator. You're out here racing, touch of a button, able to clear black flags, throw out stage cautions, as you will see tonight. I believe on lap 42 will be our first one, and be able to just do that instead of fumbling around with that keyboard. So look up Admin Box. 10-4-box with 2 X's. You wouldn't believe that. I just gave you a coupon code to knock that thing down to 125. But right now, in the lead is James Brosecker up there in the front with Matthew Batby right next to him. Do not count out Matthew Batby. He is going to push as hard as he can to get out front, but not just yet as he dials in behind him. After the line, he's able to cross over and make his race line decision, and here they go, going into turn one, kind of.
Fun fact that I feel like should be known is the 89 and the 3, currently 1 and 2, are teammates, so Batby might just want to run behind the 3 just for the time being, because if you can have your teammates and find your friends early on, you'll be better off, and if you can both survive, we saw it in the money race with the 24 and the 89 of Batby, was able to kind of work together and ultimately end up getting 1 and 2 that night, but still early on, so you want to have your friendships now, maybe have them in the end, but we should see the 3 and the 89 just working together.
Yeah, as we kind of roll back here, I'm taking another look at Ben Mashburn there. He does, I believe, have Chris Darling behind him. So these two as teammates, as you were saying before, here are two teammates now going to try and push their way up front. But really, we saw Ben Mashburn make a kind of an aggressive move there in the backfield as we were watching the leaders up front. So these two, I'm sure, will get together and work their way up front. But honestly, it's kind of the same story I've seen before here, kind of. These two, if not 3, with Martin Plute up there in front, it's almost Martin Plute holds the position, and then Christopher Darling and Ben Mashburn show up later on in the race to, work their way up there. But they kind of hang back here in that 12th to 15th position, and then all of a sudden, what you'll do is you'll see one tuck the nose of the other one underneath that rear bumper, and away they go. So as you can see, they're going ahead and taking a gamble and actually trying to work that outside line that really hasn't been working for anybody here tonight. But look at Chris Darling. Look how much speed that guy's picking up right there as he's working toward the outside, as these cars are now double stacked again, heading down the backstretch here, kind of.
Wilkinson getting the bump from the 95, just being able to slowly claw his way up the 89 and the 3, may just try to just let him go, but the 7's got to be careful being up there. He's been struggling with getting loose as he does ever so slightly just then, but he's trying to go to the front. If he can get there, then he will have a bit more control over the race, but 95 seems to have just dialed back with the connection issue, so that's good to see. The 99, after being involved in that wreck as the 7 does pull down, it seems to be not have too much damage as the 4 is also behind, so it seems like damage should be all good for those two. 7 getting a bit of looseness on corner exit, 95 able to get around as he disappears. Might have tried to pull down, but with having that blink, he can't make it run, as the 7 is going to keep his nose up the inside.
Yeah, as we get ready, a quick little flyby here. Beautiful. Man, I love that part. But yeah, you do see these guys, as you got to be a little nervous. Seeing that 7 car getting loose earlier in the race here, with him out front, as long as they can keep him, easily collected. Everybody kind of mind their business and do what they need to do, put it where they need to put it. But it's just you got to get nervous as it comes off 2 there. Whoa, little loose. So man, a little commentator's curse there as you kind of see Ben Mashburn. Check that out, as I've been talking about him a lot here so far. Up in the 6th position with Chris Darling still behind him, and we have Martin Plute still back there as well. So these guys you see kind of clumping together. But they left Martin Plute back there, and he's now back in the 12th position. So with Ben Mashburn working his way up front with Christopher Darling in that 11 machine into the 8th position. Really, you got to wonder what these guys are planning. You kind of see how they're kind of aiming where to go. Ben Mashburn slides in front of him. Great teammates, always working better in pairs. And here they go, working their way up front. Look at the speed they've got there, Kynan. Working toward the inside and putting the 7 farther back in the pack.
The 7 looked to have tried to get down as he's going to attempt to, but it's going to cause a checkup, and if they can't get themselves figured out, they're going to lose the draft, but they seem to have been able to keep it. 99 is going to be looking for a chance to pull down. He's thought about it for a second to put it up in front of the 20 of Feder place, but didn't get the opportunity to. Is going to get down in front of the 84, but He was up there, but just lost drafting help and ended up just falling back.
Yeah, really, what a wild run you see here so far. As you know, the top five, I mean, has been shuffling up so much, with these guys. But look at that! First time I've seen the outside line actually be able to collect themselves and keep. Whoa, is Nick Alford there having a little bit of trouble there in that 96 machine? Oh, blinks out on us again. Oh no, come back! There we go. As he's having a little trouble staying connected. Working his way up front here, but man, there we go. Max Graphics on the outside again. Working in that fourth, fifth position. So these guys know how to drive. They'll be there, but Martin Plute has got to be sniffing around the back of that guy's rear bumper there, working his way up front. You know, doesn't want to be left stranded there in the back, because if this trifecta lines up, these guys are going to kind of run away with this race, but not without. Oh, looks like Chris Darling's getting turned around. Oh no! Hold the brake. Oh no!
Piling in.
Boy, he didn't need that. That last little pop there right at the end. Holy cow. I'll tell you what I'd do. Head back to that race trailer and give that spotter a piece of my mind on that one.
Darling got fairly lucky not to break the half shaft in the rear of the car, so he is going to be able to drive back to the pits. Gonna probably have to take his fast repair there, but it's not what he wanted, but at least he doesn't need a tow. You will lose a lot more time than just driving back. He might be able to just take normal repairs and just do it over multiple cautions, but at least he didn't break something in the rear and made it so he couldn't drive back.
Yeah, really, we got a heck of a deal as we get this 10-4 caution replay wound up here. Here is Chris Darling. You do see him getting ready to get squeezed about 3 wide here, and we're going to kind of slow this down a little bit and see what happens. Man, I don't know if that was netcode there on that one. Hey, as you kind of see the tumble up here. This is the shot he didn't need right here. Kind of when he bumps. Pow! Right there on the bottom. Got to check up. I know it's hard to do, but you got to check up in a situation like that. You know, you start trying to fly around when you see everybody else braking. It's going to cost you. But we're going to take a look at the right rear. Let's see if we can find the 10-4 right rear suspension replay here and see if we can see exactly what happened. So we're going to put this full speed and let's take a listen and see if we see something weird. As that gets him turned around. So yeah, I just don't know about netcode. It looked like the two of them did touch, but man, really, that's gonna backpedal, you know. And that's the thing, is you get up there in the top 5, and then something dumb happens like this, you know. And you got to figure out how to keep this car all in one piece, and really where can you be, you know, to say that you're safe at this point.
I just watched back Monroe's in-car camera. It just looked like the aero just kind of pulled him down, and then we saw what happened, but you're that far back and you see a wreck happening, it's better safe just to check up. Maybe lose a position just from checking up, but you'll lose more if you get piled in and have to take a repair.
Yeah, really, it seems just more of it just has to be communication at this point, you know, between drivers, between, you know, spotters, and it's just something. When you kind of get in situations like that, you just see that something's missing, you know, and that's always what happens, is something is missing to that point of that's how these cautions happen, is one slight miscommunication of, hey, there's still a guy there on the outside, Chris Darling, don't move up, you know, or whatnot. I'm not saying it was his fault, but, you know, just a situation like that of, you know, don't move up just yet, and I just don't think, you know, these guys can get over the radio fast enough and tell them don't move just yet, because things like this just keep happening.
One thing that we also need to take into consideration, we haven't even reached the lap 42 first stage caution break yet. So it's still a long race to go. We aren't quite even a third of the way there, so still a long race. These drivers are bound to eventually find a groove where we're able to tick off some green flag laps, but at least it's been good, intense racing throughout this entire stage so far.
Yeah, really, you kind of... it's hard to say. The fastest lap time here tonight is a 46.4. So about 45 seconds every lap, and we still got just under 100 laps to go. So really, it's you see the tumble here. You see what these guys know what they got to get done, and just I understand. You know, when you get up to that kind of speed, and these new cars with new tires and new engine packages, you're throwing a whole lot of new stuff together, hoping these guys can handle it. You know, we are at Daytona. You got over 20-degree banking, as you can see here, and it just allows for so much speed, but it does allow for a lot more error as we get going down here, getting this thing put together.
In a way that even though you're going a lot faster than you say last week at LA Coliseum, for whatever reason, despite that, things can almost seem to be easier. It's almost like time seems to slow down, but in reality, you're going a lot quicker. Things can happen very quickly at these sorts of speeds, so just small little mistakes, even though they're only small, just because of the speed you are taking, you're covering more ground and you make a small turn correction, and that can just spiral out of control.
Yeah, as we're taking a little ride along here with Batby, we do hear him kind of clutching it there a little bit, saving a little bit of fuel there, and then, you know, especially when you're top 5, you don't want something like fuel getting in your way and really messing up your race here. As he downshifts, he is ready to go, and so are we. Thank you again for joining us here at 10-4 Broadcasting. This is Patrick Morrison, joined with me by Kynan Jones under green flag. Again, James Brosicker up there in front, Ben Mashburn on the outside in that 4 car. So these guys have got to get their things under control and in order as we get underway into turn 1. Really, side by side, first 3 rows. I like it. I like what I see as you see Matthew Batby there in the 89. Don't count him out yet as he's working his way there on the outside there, Kynan.
Batby deciding to stay with Mashburn, leaving his teammate on the low line, kind of left out to dry, but they are going to pull down in front. But the 3 just being a car behind his teammate, it's going to cause a bit of a issue, but early on, if you can be there with your teammate in the end, it will help out. But just with how the cars are getting suddenly loose, especially on corner exit, you're not safe anywhere. So even if you think you're safe up in front, all it will take is just a bit of air to be disrupted from your rear, then you're suddenly getting very loose, and then if you can save it, great, but if it's very easy to overcorrect, and especially with this steering.
Yeah, Ben Mashburn, a Toyota out front in the top 5 with 4 Chevrolets behind him as they get going down the backstretch here with Matthew Batby pushing and pushing and pushing. These guys have worked together before, and that's why you see they're so close. I mean, look at them touching right there as Matthew Batby, if he pushes any farther, he's going to turn the front of his car into the shape of a U facing the other way. As you know, he's got to be feeling the engine tempo on that. But really, what a great push job Matthew Batby's doing here. So these guys have worked well together before, and they are working well now. As you can see, they are doing a fantastic job staying there close to that yellow line, not let Jack Wilkinson get his way around, and keeping the order the same up here in the top 4.
If Wilkinson does try to get a run and go to the outside, the 3 is going to have to make a tough call if he stays down low, as we see this happening right as I'm talking about it. If the 3 can get the run, he'll be able to close the gap and get behind his teammate, but Wilkinson just not being able to carry enough momentum. 3 going to be able to get up alongside and should be able to clear him. Now going to have his teammate in front.
Whoa, and you kind of see Martin Plute in that 91 there kind of make that quick move toward the inside. He didn't like how the speed of that outside kind of slowing down on him with Nick Alford out there. And as you can see, that's now starting to cost them. Wilkinson and Alford now on the outside marching their way back. As Fetter Place is the only thing holding them back from going all the way to the back of the field here. Is let's see if the 7 car decides to go ahead and cut in front of, I believe, the 99 there. So really, once again, looks like Nick Alford's hung out to dry. And these guys are going to have to kind of figure out where to be, because that outside line, man, just is not working here today.
Wilkinson deciding to go with the draft of the 89 and the 3 on the outside as we got another caution.
Oh no.
looks to be the 84 involved.
Yeah, let's see if we can roll this back here of the 84. Let's see what happened with him.
Luckily, picked up very, very little damage, so he should be fine. Maybe like 10 seconds of repairs, but it was more so just a spin as drivers were able to get checked up, and luckily, it's
okay.
unfortunate, but
there he is. Yeah, the 84 kind of working there in the center, and didn't want to be the meat in that sandwich, and you saw it kind of loosened him up with the aerodynamics there. Kind of came down a little bit, got into another car, and it worked him up the track. So yeah, really compared to most issues here, kind of that's not a whole lot of damage. He may be able to survive that. Get maybe some of those optional repairs done, but now unknown if now would be a good time to take those tires. So we should be underneath the stage break as well, as we have cleared lap 42. So really, you gotta think about it, how these guys have been able to kind of keep up and keep out in front. Wow, yeah, but yeah, guys, everybody out there watching us here at 10-4 Broadcasting, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to us. You can see us every week. We are broadcasting every week, almost every day. The Summer League, everybody's out vacationing, so we are taking a little lighter load now. But go ahead and feel free to give us a chat, like, subscribe, man, and let us know what you think about the race, because, I'm going to ask, and we are after stage one. Kynan, go ahead and give me your race pick. Who do you think you might take this one away here tonight?
Well, from watching what I have from the preseason money race and so far tonight, Batby looks to be very strong here. He has teammates around. He also knows how to keep a straight wheel, so I'd say he's going to be easily one to watch.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. That was going to be my pick as well, as I believe Matthew Batby. He's got that car on a rail and he's got it going. But right now, out of pit, so far it looks like Riley Hoots is now back up in front with Chris Darling behind him. William Britton in the third position. That rounding out your top three. So really kind of shaking it up there a little bit, seeing how these guys are, how they're lining up here. So different pit strategies and things like that working their way toward the front.
It's going to benefit some, but we've seen it all race long. If you're in the front, you're not really going to stay there for long. All it will take is just one little mishap, or just the outside just being able to carry more momentum, and then if there's a check up, then you lose momentum and then you fall back. And we've seen multiple drivers like Feder Plays, Batby, even the 24 who's been able to claw his way back up to the front. We've seen him lead, but ultimately have fallen back from certain things. But if you can keep your car together, even if you're in the middle, back, no matter where you are, it's going to be some level of danger. Middle is going to be more dangerous than, say, the front, where you've just got to really worry about the car in behind you, or the car getting loose. But wherever you are, there's going to be some hint of danger, but it's a long race still.
Yeah, but one driver we haven't pointed out much here, with the same, I believe, Greg Biffle running here, or Clint Boyer, in the number 16 car here, is with Edward Marshall. You've raced with him in the East Coast Modifieds and out there in the Virtual Racing Association, and here he is in the High Octane Sim Series, up here in the 5th position. We saw, he had some trouble along with everybody else there at that LA Coliseum, and out here again, battling back there through a few cautions, cars getting loose and things like that. Look how persistence works. Is up in the top 5, so he's got to be excited about that. But do not take that away from Martin Plute there on his outside, and Matthew Batby behind him, as Edward Marshall's going to be put to the test here in this next-gen car, really, to figure out, he's got a lot of fast drivers behind him. He's got Nick Alford behind him. Isaac Emerson's back there behind him. With all this speed, how these guys are going to stay collected. You don't want them to pass you like you're standing still. You don't want to be in the way, but you got to keep up. So, we're about to figure out how Edward Marshall can do up here in the front.
Race Control has decided to extend the caution by 1 lap, but just getting that experience up front will become crucial, especially later on. If you can kind of find people who you can work well with, then try to stick with them throughout the entire race. It will help. But another driver that is really only their first time being up here this race is the 64. He's managed to claw his way up from relatively far back, and my ticket decides to work. He's currently up 24 positions. First time really being up here, seeing how they are racing up front, just being able to give him a little bit of confidence potentially. Hopefully he can stay his way up here throughout the entire race and maybe make a run towards the end of the race.
Yeah, really, man, you just know. I mean, I can start feeling my blood pressure going up. Your heart's pounding because here we go again. I mean, this is only stage, beginning of stage 2, the conclusion of stage 1, and you've already got people. There we go out in the chat. Looks like Shane Hoots. Come on, Riley. So you do see, we have another fan out there for Riley Hoots. They're up there in the 24 car. But really, you see so much speed and so much talent up here in the top 10. I mean, just being able to see these guys staying collected, staying where they need to be, and not getting everybody bumped and banged around. I expect to see a whole lot of pushing and shoving here in the first 5 laps before these guys kind of single file.
Some drivers are going to want to try and make their way up to the front. Some may be happy where they are. We may see the 64 just try to stick with the 24, but we'll have to see as the pace car does pull in as we're rolling up to the Geico restart zone.
And there we are in the Geico restart zone. We get a takeoff from Riley Hoots when he wants to put it on the loud pedal. And there he goes across the finish line, taking that great restart there out front. William Britton there in the second position. Chris Darling goes ahead and files in the third position. So you see Chris Darling didn't like that outside line. He was kind of getting hung out there. So he had to move down in front. Edward Marshall, for the time being, is moved up to the 4th position as we dive. Turning off turn 2 there. Wow, you just kind of see him. Everybody kind of getting that weeble wobbling around. But boy, it's just a game of inches here, kind of.
Yeah, it is very dangerous, especially if you're on the high line and you get the little weeble wobble, as you said. Luckily, if you're on the low side, you're able to kind of take it below the apron and hopefully not cause a big pile up. But just looking back a couple positions in 6th position, Martin Flute just trying to push the 45 up. Looks like he's able to now be able to get a bit of momentum running, but if he's able to hold it up and might be able to start challenging. Emerson just also trying to get close to Flute.
Yeah, as we're taking a ride along here with Flute, you kind of see he's kind of giving that little nudge right there, kind of trying to keep that outside line alive. But yeah, just giving up because that 45 car just can't get up to speed. So going ahead and ducking out of the way. And these guys are probably going to go ahead and start trying to single file. As you see, Matthew Badby doesn't do him any favors there, moving to the outside. But you see that aerodynamic bubble I was discussing earlier. It's kind of right in this spot where you see Martin Flute going. That if he decides to tip that accelerator all the way to the floor, you'll see him pick up a whole lot of speed. As we can see the 92 car of Emerson working his way on the outside. But Flute's got to close that gap a little bit, or Emerson's going to go ahead and try and work his way on the inside as well.
William Britton took a very ballsy move and going to the outside, hoping that Batby would be able to get to him, and he has. Now he's got to decide if he stays up there and pull down with Batby, and just as Batby does decide to pull down low, William tries to defend it but isn't going to be able to. So he tried playing with it and being nice, staying with Batby, but Batby decided to bail and deciding to work with the 24.
Really, and what a wild turn of events here as we kind of see these guys battling, working their way toward the front. But we do see Ben Mashburn. I believe he's back in the back of the field now, back there in the 17th position right now. So, he wants to get up here and get with his buddies, but right now he's got a heck of a field to work through, and he may have to wait for another caution to get sliced through. But still, once again, up here in the top 5. I mean, Batby, Britton, Hoots, Fitfield there in the 4th position, Isaac Emerson in the 5th, Christopher Darling 6th, Alfred 7th, Kelly Thomas in the 51 machine 8th, Edward Marshall in the 16 machine 9th, and Jeffrey Goodpaster, we haven't talked about before, in the 33 car. They're rounding out to our top 10. So really, this battle up here in the top, you see everybody. I mean, we're getting all sorts of names we haven't seen able to come up here, get their car seen, get their name seen, and work their way up front as doing a fantastic job there on the outside line.
William Britton tried to defend the inside line, but doing that just cost him a bit of momentum. 45 with the 92 behind him, pushing him on corner exit, was able to carry some momentum, but just carrying that little bit extra momentum was able to ink out and is going to lead the race.
Yeah, and you do see these guys kind of moving all over the track here. That 7 car again of Wilkinson, we see him testing a few lines out there. Maybe after an adjustment is, oh boy, is the 7 car starting to kind of test that inside line once again. Martin Plute sees his light flash before his eyes, and he's getting nervous, so he's got to kind of snug up behind his teammate of Chris Darling there on the inside, which I'm sure he's happy to see. But these guys working together and get their way back up front is going to be a feat in itself to keep this thing alive, as Chris Darling and Martin Plute working their way on the inside, and the 33 car of Goodpaster in that Miller Lite machine working his way on the outside, trying to keep it alive. It looks like the 64 car is going ahead and allowing the field to pass him. Now, I've seen this before, and that's okay. He's just got to be careful on his re-entry.
Gonna have to be careful with carrying that speed, especially coming back onto the banking. It can really unsettle the car. He's been able to keep a hold of it, but is going to lose that crucial momentum and will fall away from that lead pack. But if something does happen in front, as he's probably feeling like it's a little bit too aggressive for my liking, so I want to just drop back a little bit where it's a little bit friendlier. So in his mind, he's probably wishing he didn't back off that much, but it's better safe than sorry.
Especially losing the tail end of the field there. You are going to lose that draft, and now all of a sudden, draft is key here, and that is going to definitely cost him and work him toward the back. But that back pile here, consisting of Zach Rendenius, looks like Edward Marshall, Ben Mashburn back here, and Christopher Miller, I believe, are the 5 cars here in the back. So really, these guys are going to have to kind of keep pushing together and work their way back up front. And not really, how they wanted it to happen, but it is, and that's how it's going to be. As we work our way back up front, Riley Hoots, who was in the lead, back to the 5th position, but don't take it away from him. As long as he's following Matthew Batby, I think he'll be all right.
I'd be giving the 51 a very nice push. The 51 deciding to just stay with Batby, though. 45 is going to be able to carry a bit of momentum on the low line, especially on corner exit. But Batby just being able to keep close enough to the 51 to keep him out in front. Might be trying to just get the 24 cleared as well, just to pull down, but they also have their teammate a couple cars back, but looks like 51 is going to decide to drop down low.
Yeah, and you kind of you feel Jeffrey Goodpaster there in that outside car. He's feeling it. He kind of got hung out to dry as he's now the lead car, and now they're going to start marching back. He really wished that outside line kind of wouldn't have bailed on him, especially since he was helping push. So just kind of what you see and things that happen. But man, it's a game of racing. Right now, he is fighting Isaac Emerson there on the inside to see if he can get a few more inches to see if he can squeeze to that inside line and not get stranded out there. But Brosecker right behind him in that 3 car, man, he's just, oh man, and the 7 car leaves him as well. Wilkinson moves to the inside, and the 2 lonely cars on the outside are going to have to find a way to keep this thing close, or otherwise they're going to march to the back of the field here, kind of.
You can already see the momentum. As soon as that 7 pulled out of the line with them, they just started falling back, but a massive check up on the low line is going to give them a little bit of hope. Just going to start clawing their way back up, but as soon as the low line starts to then figure themselves back out again, you can see them just starting to drop back. Small check up entering the turn. It's giving the high line a bit of a breathing hope, but the 20 is slowly clawing his way back up towards, still getting loose on corner exit, but if the 20 can claw his way up to Brosecker and can't quite see what looks to be the 33, they might be able to move their way up a little bit more, but with the 7 pulling down when he did, it did kind of leave the high line out to dry a little bit.
Oh, yeah, and it's definitely not good. But with 55 laps under our belt right now, these guys have well settled in. They've kind of figured out what each other are going to do. But now the key is when to strike. You do see, Riley Hoots up there, moved up to the third position. Matthew Batby second, and Kelly Thomas, who's a name we haven't seen up front, staying up in the lead of the 51 car. Definitely enjoying that time up front as boys. You can see Isaac Emerson there kind of stealing the limelight there, getting loose coming off turn 2, along with Wilkinson at the same time. So these guys are starting to feel a little bit of that tire wear starting to set in. It shouldn't be that much here at a speedway, but when you're making aggressive moves, high, low, really where to go, you're going to see these guys have to change lines. You can see Kelly Thomas, Matthew Batby, and Hoots move their way up to the top line. So Goodpaster's appreciating this because he's going to be able to keep up and be able to work his way around, putting that 45 machine back farther in the field yet again after battling to get back up front, but gave up once again. Goodpaster hung out to dry again. So really, you kind of feel for the guy and you want him to work his way to the inside, Kynan, but I just don't know how to get there. And the key is to just maintain patience there on the outside.
Yeah, they just seem not to really have anywhere to really go. Goodpaster is probably wanting to pull down low, but as the 20 was able to close in, that's when they started to gain that speed. 51 deciding to pull up just to block it. 89 and 24 defending with them, just trying to keep with it. If I was in the 89 shoe, I would have decided to stay on the low line instead of following the 51. It did cause a fairly large checkup on the high line, as they are going to try claw their way back up, but just having that couple extra cars on the low line is just able to keep them a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, and we'll kind of keep an eye on that outside line. Looks like Brandon Fetterplace has gotten a little courage up and decided to join the outside line as well. I do not know if Ian Janik there or if Chris Darling wants to go ahead and give it a shot working that outside line and see if they can get Goodpaster pushed up front here, as it looks like Goodpaster may have just had the opportunity. The opening has happened. He has been able to get his way to the inside line, and boy, he's been waiting for that spot this whole race, as now he's worked his way up, 4th place, and here he comes. Staying there on the inside, but man, Fetterplace is really starting to push that 3 car up front. Now it's starting to work for them on the outside line. Fetterplace hung out to dry and coming up on a lapped car. So these guys have got to be careful of how they decide to attack this one. Coming down the backstretch, kind of.
Roseka was finally able to get to his teammates, but right on as he does on corner exit of 2, just got a little bit loose and is now going to lose all that track position that he had just gained. Lap car is staying up against the wall, so shouldn't really cause too many issues, but just all happening all at once. The biggest benefactor was Goodpaster finally being able to get to that inside line, but Fetterplace was able to follow him, and as we go back to single file running.
Yeah, and single file running, these guys are starting to fall off a little bit. Fastest time of these guys up front are somewhere between the 46.6 and a 46.7, and right now they're running about 48 seconds flat. So the tire fall off is happening. It is real. There's no way around it, but it's how long can these tires hold out between traction and maintaining speed. With the lack of amount of tires here tonight, Kynan, you do see that I think some of these guys may kind of opt to not take tires at one point and try to stay out there. I'm sure Martin Plute is wishing he hadn't taken those early tires there up on lap 18 before, because now he's going to need them later on in the race.
Goodpaster seeing that there was a bit of a run on the high line. 5 cars now. He's going to, or he should at least be starting to start making some leeway on the 24, 89, and 51, but it's just if they can keep it steady. But as you were saying, tires, yes, they are going to matter more than I actually expected, so just being able to keep the car stable, especially when around other cars, and if you're on the high line, seen cars been getting loose, especially on corner exit and even in the mid corner, just not being as planted as you would expect. But if they can just have an extra set, if do have an issue where you have to lock them down, which then destroys that set of tires, at least you'll have that extra set for the end.
Yeah, and got to be careful here for the end, as Jack Wilkinson here Definitely, we do see him doing a lot of bobbing and weaving again. He's got to be careful, especially there on the outside of Nick Alford there. I'm sure he's not liking seeing that, but I know these cars get loose. We discussed downforce before being some trouble. Oh, as the 45 car starts getting loose. Looks like he ended up in a little bit of a tangle up there.
Just got loose on exit, as I was saying. He then tried to keep it against the wall, but the wall then just grabbed it and then it spun around, and then cars not checking up.
Yeah,
Did get into him, but ever so slightly.
Yeah, but you gotta know as a driver, you appreciate a car spinning out like that. Just lock it down, and I will figure out a way around you. You know, rather than I'm trying to stay out front. I'm trying to stay out front, and you end up spinning out and taking out more cars as we are coming up here. Let's take a look here at the 45 car behind that blue and yellow one. Let's see what in the world happens here. Oh, right there. A little overcorrection, but just go ahead. Lock it down. Yep, he's sliding along the wall there.
He got very unfortunate with cars behind not checking up as much as they probably should have.
Oh,
so,
man.
It gets worse. A lot worse. It seems like everything's all good. And then all of a sudden, it's a long time to wait, bud.
No! Who in the world was that?
It was the 84. 45 did everything right. He kept his car still, waited for cars to go by, but just people not checking up, and then that's what happens when you don't check up.
Wow. Wow, and that is going to be absolutely detrimental to him for the rest of this race. That is not what you want to see if you are a Jordan Jr. Fan there. Holy cow. As that has now folded his car up, and that may be the end of his night upcoming. So really, just a battle up here ensuing. But man, something to keep in mind. Look who is in pit. Matthew Batby going ahead and taking this thing down pit road. And all these cars, Riley Hoots, Nick Alford, Brandon Fetterplace, Matthew Batby looking like he's going to squeeze out of pit first. There we go. So really, a quick little stop there. I would not assume tires. I would assume probably a fuel stop on this one. Just because I just don't know how long these tires are going to make it here tonight.
They should be able to make it at least to the next stage caution at lap 84. From what I believe, it's around 25, 26 laps of fuel on with a tank, so they are able to make it to the next caution, which will be at minimum of on lap 84. So just wanting to get the fuel done now, not need to make any potential green flag pit stops, which will lose you a bunch of time. But if he did just take fuel, then he's going to have that extra set of tires.
Yeah, and we're kind of taking a quick look here. And just for Shane Hoots out there, since your nephew's out here racing the 24 car, right now my ticker's saying he is out here in the 8th position after that pit stop. So we'll see if he can fight his way back up front. Whether how the leader chooses whether he'll be on the inside or outside is yet to be determined. But we'll keep an eye on him back in the 24 car, Riley Hoots. I saw him at Homestead last season, and man, really, what a battle he put on up in front with some of those guys. I mean, just he can battle along with the best of them, and he can stay out front. But really, I just you got to think, really what is going through his mind at this point is, I would think, man, I just got to get to the next stage, get this thing squared away, survive, and work my way up front here in the final stage. Save a set of tires, and then let's get back underway.
Going back to the money race a couple weeks ago, Riley Hoots did make a mistake early on in the race under pit stops, which then lost him a bunch of track position. But just as the race started to unroll, he was able to keep his car together and be there in the end. With help with his teammate of Batby, he was able to clinch out the win. So he does know how to get it done at super speedways. So it's still a long race. We are at the halfway mark, so it's still got a long way to go. He does have pace, so I expect to see him towards the later stages. fighting for the win.
Yeah, still a lot of race left to go here. Riley Hoots just seems to have that Denny Hamlin problem. You know, you race really well, and then pit road just seems to jam you every time. You know, you go out in the lead and you come back in, and you're you're just kind of you're in the backfield again. But out there, let's see, how do you destroy someone that's not moving on the track? That's just no awareness. It is a miscommunication with your spotter out there. Some of these guys get a little overzealous and I guess keep running. When the caution does come out, you retain the position. It's not the old style where the caution comes out and it's a shootout to the line. You do retain position, so if you spin out, the guy in 5th spins out, you're in 20th, you are in 20th come the restart, as long as 5th doesn't come back in. But Matthew Batby taking that green flag yet again up front, doing a great job. He is enjoying that fresh, clean air, and really that seems to be what a lot of these drivers say, kind of up front, is fresh air is the key to winning. And we'll have to see if Matt Batby decides to say that's the same thing as we see Brandon Fetterplace. I mean, loving that, working that outside line. Really, it hasn't been working for anybody, but don't put out Chris Darling there in that 11 car. He is one to push, and he will push until the car blows up. So keep an eye out for that, kind of.
Batby just seems like he was able to get a good restart, but it was a little bit too good, pulling away from his teammate of the 3 behind. Just wasn't able to then get hooked up together soon enough, which then, with Fetterplace and Darling just being that bit closer, they were able to get hooked up and was just able to carry that speed on to the back straight, and ultimately it was able to gain them track position, but Batby is now around his teammates again.
Yeah, and really, it's always a comfortable spot when you're around your teammates. You know, the spotters can correlate and figure out what to do. Your crew chiefs kind of talk and discuss what's going on and how to make it happen. But teammate or not, those last 15 laps of the race, it doesn't matter what number or what team you are. You're going for, and you're only thinking about number 1, and you are number 1. So you'll see these guys that we're working together now, but how long will they work together? As you see Christopher Darling pushing Brandon Fetterplace, keeping him in the lead for a little while longer, as they are single file at least back to the 10th position.
It's exactly what these drivers want to see. Single file, nice safety, don't really need to worry as much. Can almost act as a bit of a breather, not as much going on, so you can just start to let the car more do the driving, but with how it's been getting loose, you still need to stay on your toes slightly.
Yeah, as we're going to take a roll back here, Edward Marshall about to the 10th position. He seemed to have a little trouble in that last one. I saw him roll back to somewhere in that 17th, 18th position, but now he's back up here in the top 10, so doing pretty decent job there, as it looks like the 8 car maybe kind of biting that outside wall there a little bit. Not sure if he's having a little car trouble. We'll keep an eye on him as he now marches back to the 14th position, in the back of this pack. So hopefully he'll be able to stay in that aerodynamic area and stay in contention, but really he's got to work his way back up front.
One thing you need to be careful, when you do get into the wall, it will want to stick, so it may be tempting just to use a bit more steering just to bite it off the wall, but if you do that, then you can suddenly have all the steering come flying down into traffic, so sometimes it's better just to be stuck to the wall and just let it fall off as it comes naturally. As Wilkinson is starting to lead an outside line with the 16 of Edward Marshall, as I say that, gets very loose, able to keep control.
No!
Just cutting them off slightly, which then causes a wreck.
Looks like Emerson. Yep, right there. Emerson getting tumbled up. It looks like Kelly Thomas got caught up in that. And yeah, that was just a very aggressive move there by Emerson, Isaac Emerson there. Boy, he did not want that to happen. And I think just the aerodynamics played up on him on there. As I'm going to go ahead and roll this 10-4 replay back for you all here and for us as well. I enjoy seeing these and kind of seeing how they come about. So here we are. Edward Marshall there on the outside. Kelly Thomas there in the 51. And we'll kind of see what kind of move is made here as he gets ready to slide up. Don't know if there was any contact there. We'll kind of have to take a closer look.
Edward Marshall did a good job just to keep it up at the wall, but the 92 just almost seems that it just got a tight and drifted up, but just made ever so slight contact, which then was able to just set it a bit more unstable, which then we see what then end up happening. But Edward Marshall doing nothing wrong there, and 92 also getting fairly unlucky with how the air responded.
Yeah, and we will kind of see here. Let's see if I can give us a better position here. Let's see if we can get that 10-4 left front. So we'll see if any contact was made. We saw the aftermath and how it happened. So Isaac Emerson works his way up top here. Edward Marshall staying in the gas. Boink, right there. As you kind of see it go into that bumper there and get him turned around a little bit right there. And that's it. 92 just goes careening out of control and off they go.
We saw the 51 leading earlier in the race, but ever since the pit stop fell back a little bit, and just you can see what track position can do. Just being in that bit of a worse position put him in the wreck.
Man, you want to talk about somebody else's good passer there getting tangled up there with Edward Marshall trying to stay out of the way. And you can see it looks like Edward Marshall is working his way down in the pit, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is. Them working there in the pit as these guys go ahead and Isaac Emerson taking a little, doing a little landscaping there as he's collecting that up. But that would be a great time to mention with Edward Marshall kind of going through pit there is what you see is the amount of speed he ended up getting there is really going to kind of cost him at this point. But sliding through pit road, what happens when you speed down pit road, even during a caution, is you're going to end up getting a black flag, and this is kind of where you want to keep an eye out for, what to do at this point. And he can contest that I was trying to avoid and stay away from a wreck, and that's where the admin box comes in. This is one of those ones where, yes, he was avoiding a wreck. Their only place to go was pit road. You did see him break loose, trying to get out of there, and this is a great deal product to use, which now you can now wave that black flag as these guys are now, hey, I'm in control of racing, I've got cars next to me, I don't need to be fumbling around with that keyboard. Admin box is the way to do it and be able to go ahead and clear his black flag, get him on the lead lap where he doesn't have to do a drive-through, and I'm sure he would appreciate that a bunch. But appreciative is food, man. I love food. Captain Jack's Smokehouse. A quick little shout out to Captain Jack's Smokehouse. Man, I love barbecue, and especially those ribs. I don't know about you, kind, and what you guys have down there in Australia, but man, we love ribs here, bud.
I mean, here we don't have something that looks that good.
Yeah, but another one is Dubby with these energy drinks here, man. They sponsor it. They say it's Jittlerless energy blend, and you've got to have it. Got to have a try. I would say it would help some of these guys with racing, or if you're up 12, 14 hours out of the day like most of these guys, it's something you've got to have. W Energy Drinks, check them out up on Facebook, and you've got to try these things. But right now, Edward Marshall in the 18th position, Fetter Place up in the lead, as we saw him last week at the Coliseum, as Christopher Darling is going to start on the outside lane. They're in the front row, so super exciting to see Christopher Darling up front. I'm sure he appreciates that after the one spin out he had. But as Martin Emerson says in the chat, 100%. There's plenty of time left for Emerson to retain and be able to make up that ground. As we see him even after that spin out, 13th position. So a little pit strategy there, being able to kind of come in, give a little touch and go, and fix some of that optional repair and get back out front. But it believes Isaac Emerson and everyone back from there decided to pit that time. So really, you're going to see some of these guys in the back. Maybe that extra fuel strategy pushing toward the end is going to help these guys. But I do not know if that is going to be as crucial, seeing that our pit strategy will be at 84. But right now, Brandon Fetterplace taking that green flag. Gotta love it. Gotta stay out front. Gotta enjoy it. But right now, Riley Hoots behind him. Christopher Darling up in the top. And Matthew Batby in the 4th position. So these guys are going to try to see if they can get going. But Christopher Darling, look at that. Working that door draft like I was talking about before. And you see how it's kind of holding them there and not letting these guys get away. Can't hold it forever, though, because these guys are definitely getting wobbly. So Jack Wilkinson going to go ahead and give Chris Darling a push here, Kynan. But really, what a shove here from the first 4 rows.
very aggressive. I was wondering if Brozacker would let his teammate of Batby down, and he did. So luckily they're able to get paired back up. So they're going to be able to be very comfortable around each other. Hopefully going to keep things steady. But you've got to, even though you may be on the bottom line, you may think it's safe, especially with your teammates around you, but you can never be too sure. All it will take is just the car getting a little bit loose, as we saw Batby do on that initial restart, and you can be off onto the apron, or even worse, back up into the field.
Yeah, really back up into the field. Riley Hoots has now taken the lead up front from Brandon Fetterplace, working that outside line with Batby. So you do see this teamwork is really making the dream work here, as these guys are working their way around the field. Gotta love it, as that Kenny Power Motorsports team is getting this thing under control and in their wheelhouse, as I believe 1, 2, and 3 are on that KPM right now. So yeah, you see Shane Hoots kind of rooting out there for Batby to push him around, and he is doing just that.
It seems like Wilkinson is a little bit indecisive on where he wants to go, but I'm sure as things start to steady down a little bit, he will be able to find where on track he wants to be.
Yeah, what's not steadying down there is we saw Isaac Emerson there once again. Yeah, he's getting a little loose coming out of 2 there, and I'm wondering if they're just, the aerodynamics is catching this car, or some part of the pavement is starting to grab the car and whip it around. Making these guys having just a little more of a control problem getting this thing, whether it can stay under control or not, I'm unsure. But really, Isaac Emerson up here in the 10th position, so already up 3 from the restart. He's feeling pretty good about that, but man, oh dog, is Nick Alford there. Hey, he's seeing this circus kind of playing in front of him here, as these guys are pushing and shoving, really kind of running out of real estate of where to go.
Wilkinson is moving a little bit under brake or under on the straightaway. That's not going to be making Wilkinson's life easy. Darling pulling up onto the high line. Might be trying to back up a little bit, or just trying to use that outside line momentum just to try elevate himself past the teammates.
Yeah, what a battle we got ensuing up here. Martin Plute working his way back up to the 6th position, at this point in time. Hank, being able to get his way around the track. He's having a little trouble getting this thing to hook, and he's kind of ended up in some bad luck there, but really no wrecks from what I've seen, as these guys are going around. At 91 car of the Twisted Steel. Yeah, man, you gotta love that paint job. The flames up the front and everything else. And really, that is no, just a pen and pencil or crayon job there. Those are real flames. That true flame paint. Now I gotta love that. But man, really, well, it looks like is that Wilkinson getting a little loose again up there into that wall. So once again, Nick Alford had kind of seen that thing happen in front of him again. So kind of in your opinion, do you push Wilkinson at this point, or do you lay back and try to see if you can find a different line?
Right now, I'd want to give him a little bit of extra space, just seeing how he's getting loose. As I said, he gets loose again. So I just want to give him a little bit of extra space. So if I want to not be involved in a wreck, say if he gets a big shot of oversteer on corner exit, then he's able to recover himself a little bit easier than if I'm right on his rear bumper, which then can assist him on going around fully.
Yeah, and really what a great job a lot of these guys are doing as we roll back here to Ian Janik there in the 14th position. Kind of reeling up the back of the field there, kind of staying in the aerodynamic area where you want to be. But, Edward Marshall, I believe, is the last guy in this pack here. So the top 15, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing them race, kind of really pushing this thing to the edge of what these cars can do. But just some of these guys are a few seconds off. I think once you start getting back to Paul back there, let's see where he is, and Kelly Thomas, they're kind of there in the back. Let's see, Kelly Thomas is 51 machine, if I'm not mistaken. These two guys back here, Kelly and Paul, from there, and Ben Mashburn, man, and back there in the 18th position. So he's kind of having to fight his way up and see if, keep not going a lap down.
He shouldn't go a lap down. There's only 4 laps left until stage 2 caution, so if he just keeps... I mean, it's likely that he just backed off just so then if there is a wreck, he's able to keep his car in one piece. There's no real reason to be fighting right up in the middle of the pack, especially if the drivers are being as aggressive as they are now. It's be very easy for something to go wrong, so maybe just deciding to just back it up a little bit and just keep the car underneath him.
Yeah, and maybe with the earlier tie-ups he had, that fast repair is gone, so your lifeline is over. So he's got to be very, very careful. But speaking of very careful out here, Chris Darling, Martin Plute, and Max Graphics Speedway Series, these guys are able to keep out there on that outside line. They seem to not really be pulling away from that that strategy of these guys sticking together. But Fetter Place wants to go ahead and get a little bit of that. Oh no! As it looks like Emerson is around again. Stay off the wall! Oh man. As that is going to be massive damage there, as that left front is going to be absolutely totaled on that one. But it looks like we do not have a caution at this point. So we're going to go roll up front, and we have another tangle up here with Chris Darling and the 3 car. Oh no! And that, I assure you, will bring out the caution. There's no doubt about that. We're going to roll back actually to Emerson first and see what in the world happened to his car. And that is heartbreaking at that point, seeing how he kind of got loose coming around here. So we see Emerson kind of here toward the back where Nick Alford is, working his way on the... Oh, boy. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the 7 car. Yes, of Wilkinson.
You would be correct.
All right, and then we're going to stay on this. Let's see what happens to Chris Darling up here. As the 3 car, wow, loosens up in front of Fetter Place. Darling kind of overcorrects and collects the field. Wow.
It seems like the air was taken off the rear and it just got a little bit of a wiggle, and then you can see what happened afterwards, but nothing really Roseka could do. It just got loose all of a sudden and was able to keep it up in the wall, but things just stacked up then and then. When they stack up like that in this sort of speed and with as low visibility, when you're behind another car, it's bound to end in a disaster.
Yeah, really, just bad timing. That's all that is, just bad timing and where these guys are placed. You don't want that to happen, but then you got no choice of really where they are, where to be, and how to place your car at this point. Let's see if I can get a little better view here of this replay, and we'll kind of see how the 3 gets a little loose here. Fetter Place catches it. 11 moves down. Bam. Yep, and then just collects the field after that.
The 11 probably thought that they were going to wreck a little bit worse, so he went down to avoid the wreck, but the 12 was just there, and it just ended up spinning the 11 in front of the rest of the field there.
Wow. Wow, so this is definitely going to change how some of these guys continue this race here tonight of really what these guys can get done and where. So this is going to shuffle the field, and we will figure out exactly where this is going to put everybody officially. So we're going to kind of cut to a quick commercial here, and we will be right back. Alright, and we are back after a slight tangle up there. It looks like, believe that is Goodpaster going ahead and working his way down pit road now. As he's going to go ahead and take it down. Fetter Place looks like he's coming off pit. But right now, trying to see where uh, one of our drivers is. Let's see, Martin Plute coming off, working his way around. And yeah, that, what we have here is you just see multiple accidents, and you hate to see it so late in the race that these guys just start getting tangled up. I mean, this will be the second stage that these guys are under caution. I believe they're going to probably, like you said, extend this caution as well for this race here, seeing that that will be the end of stage 2 in the front, and really to keep this going. But Matthew Batby, Riley Hoots, that team being able to stay up front, and Ben Mashburn, we talked about tumbling in the back, is now in the 6th position in that 4 car. So yeah, just kind of a big mix-up of the field here. It looks like William Britton, Matthew Badby, Riley Hoots, James Brosecker, Nick Alford, and Ben Mashburn up in the 6th position. Ian Janik, Paul... Oh, I switched up there on me. I believe Bo Janik there, Edward Marshall in the 8th position, and Kelly Thomas in the 10th. Man, really, the top 10 just did kind of a mashup there, and a definite big mix-up. I'm not sure some of the drivers that may or may not be out of the pits just yet. Looks like the 45 machine, the 84 machine are out, the 82 machine are out. So Monroe is definitely out. Byfield is definitely out. But right now we're under green flag, back up front. So right now William Britton staying up front, doing a great job. He is loving it with the 89 car of Batby Hoots behind him, and Nick Alford staying there on the inside line. So whether I would probably assume these guys may work toward the inside, but I do not think. Yeah, the outside 3 cars are all in the same team. So really, this is kind of what you want out of a team, is the top, your top 3 working that outside line, and now starting to pull away. So they're starting to get that separation of about half a second off the guy behind him there, of Edward Marshall, praying he can kind of get in that aerodynamic area and get his way back forward.
Edward Marshall came from a long way back, just was able to carry a lot more momentum. William Britton tried to go up to block, or at least have Marshall help him, but that was too big of a speed difference, as Marshall is going to pull to the inside with William Britton. They're going to start closing their way past the 24, 89 if they can get past fully. The 33 is going to try to give him a push, but Marshall just moving up is going to open the door for the 64 just to pull back by 33, easing off just so Edward Marshall can pull back down.
Yeah, they got to be careful, because Edward Marshall in a very dangerous area there, kind of marching back in the middle of that pack. We just saw what happened to Chris Darling in the last shot with him in the middle, but he's able to single file back in the bottom. He did have the lead there for just about a few seconds there, and then they just didn't have enough to get him to swipe up in front of Matthew Batby there. But Batby, once again, out front, doing fantastic right now of how these guys are communicating and staying up front here, kind of.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want with a team race like this. Yeah, you can win by yourself, but it's a lot harder. If you have your teammates and you can work well together throughout the entire race, it's going to put you in a fantastic position. They might have the free, just try to cover a couple of lanes. I say that as he goes down to block the 7, able to do it, but gets a massive shot. The 24 may lift just to let him file in front of him and behind Batby. But I say that as the 3 was just left out to dry. Wilkinson able to get past, going to then cut down after he blinks, but able to pull down and is going to separate the teammates.
Yeah, really, that's what you were kind of seeing up there, is up in the front of the 89, the 3, and the 24 car of the Kenneth Powers Motorsports. But up top, you also have the 11, the 4, and the 91 of Chris Darling, Ben Mashburn, and Martin Plute working there for the Max Graphics Racing. So these two teams right now may be the real, the teams to watch of how these guys are up front and how they're maintaining their positions to stay working up front. As we see Chris Darling now working his way, just got in a bad line and now is back there in the 8th position. Ben Mashburn back to the 11th, but Plute seems to have gotten the right lane and worked his way up into the front position. but he is somehow a lap down. I don't know if he ended up in one of the pileups there or something happened, but he is a lap down. Unfortunately, he has to get in front of the 16 of Jeffrey. The 33, or in 16th position of Jeffrey Goodpaster there to get the lucky dog position. That would be if another caution comes out as he sees if he can go ahead and fire around that 33 car there. But really, I know when I race, kind of making these moves toward the outside to see if I can line up and get around. I don't make such aggressive moves. I'm a little more smooth when I try to slide around. And then once I get around, you see the gap between these two cars side by side. I actually go half of that to get much closer. It does take, a little more skill and a lot more trust on the guy on the inside, whether I'm on the inside or outside. But you don't want to get lost. I mean, yes, Martin Plute is now in the lucky dog position, but he's going to have to hold that position there on the outside as they are closing that gap very quickly for him to slide back in. But Edward Marshall holding them to it and not letting him in.
Alfred was giving the 3 a bit too much of a push and is going to stack him up.
As I believe the 3 got loose, kind of clipped that wall, and something happened there. As we are back under, and Martin Plute just in the nick of time stays out in front of Goodpaster there and should have the lucky dog position, as we're going to roll that 10-4 caution replay out once again. Really not what you see a lot of this high-octane sim series here. These guys, getting like this, getting, how you guys would say, out of sorts at this point. But we're going to roll here to the 3 car of Brosecker, and let's see exactly what happens here. It looks like Alfred gets right into the butt end of that car. There's the bump. And then the 3 tries to come back up, which ends up swiping across the front bumper and just starts stacking the rest of the field there.
The 3 was getting the bump, unsettled the car. He tried to then keep it steady, but the 95 of Nick Alfred just kept on bumping him, and then it just ended up hooking him and causing the pile up.
Yeah, and you do see kind of what happens when you don't lock the car down. Is, you're sliding out of control, understand, save it, but once it's lost, just hit the brakes. As you can see, Christopher Darling at the end of that got in that tangle up there with Goodpaster. It just bumping and banging everywhere and really nowhere to go, as it looks like, taking a little peek here, it looks like Brosecker went ahead and threw 4 tires on at that point. Seeing if any of these guys are they going to pit? Yes, they are, as they are working their way down pit road. Taking an eyeball on Martin Plute here as he works his way down pit road. And lap 91 out of 130. We have 39 laps to go. Probably 38 laps to go, excuse me. With Wilkinson, who's been in a little bit of trouble with some of this race, is actually up in the lead. Kynan in this position, seeing that some of these guys are pitting now. I would probably assume another caution, seeing how some of this is going. I mean, of course, you never want another caution, but there may be another one here. What is your strategy at this point?
My strategy is probably would be what Mashburn has been doing for quite a while now, is just rolling a little bit back. He was able to stay out of the past couple wrecks, and if he still has a fast repair, it's because he's been able to just dial it back, be like, okay, I'm not going to go fight this. I want to be there when it matters. If you don't have any fast repairs, which you have to be questioning, how many of these drivers still have their fast repairs? We've been seeing some fairly large wrecks now. There's got to be some sort of consequence for it. So how many of these really good drivers, which have been running up there, no longer have their fast repairs just because they decide to be a little bit too aggressive too early on?
Yeah, I know the number 2 car of King, I believe his fast repair is done. Emerson, his in the 92, his fast repair was 8 up as well. As you see, these guys are multiple laps down. And some of the fans out there in and the chat are kind of saying, kind of talking about the being able to collect some of those points. I believe the 84 got tangled up and is done. So yeah, it's just, you see some of this. I mean, it is first race of the season, and this will clean up later on throughout the season. These guys are just kind of getting probably the new jitters. A lot of these guys we have seen return from last season, and last season wasn't too far away. I believe they took probably a 3 or 4 week break, a couple recruitment races in between, and we're back under green flag, with the same driver. So I don't know. Since they went from the Xfinity and Cup cars there to the next gens, if this is just starting to bring a whole new twist to these drivers out here of how they handle in the draft, out of the draft, where to go, and certain things like that. But right now, Jack Wilkinson in the lead, Ian Janik there in second, Matthew Batby third, Riley Hoots fourth, and Edward Marshall in fifth. So that'll round up our top 5. These guys... these guys, I'm sure, are excited to be back under green, to get this thing wrapped up. You just see so much bad luck there toward the back, and getting, mashed up and things like that. But it's really, you've got to keep your car under control, and just finish the race at this point. Because you're just, you've got the lead. You got a fast car. The key is just placing this time, as Wilkinson is going to end us into the restart zone. Here we go on him, and the gas. There he goes. Matthew Batby going ahead and giving him a shove from behind, keeping it out front. So really, Riley Hooch is going to have his work cut out for him, not to let his teammate get away from him.
25 did pull down, which did leave Riley Hoots out to dry a little bit. He wants they just to be brought up just a little bit more, but right now Riley Hoots does drop back. He's probably might try to pop in behind Edward Marshall. I say that as he decides to stay up high, hoping that the 8 will be able to get up to him, which here it comes now. But just got a bad restart with the 25 in front of him. The 7 and the 89 flawless restart was able to then break away, keep together, and was just able to extend that lead. Edward Marshall holding strong on the low line with Mashburn behind him and the 51. But so far, drivers just seeming to just calm it down a little bit.
Yeah, it's great to see the 51 car of Kelly Thomas working back up front. Chris Darling still, after that tangle up, has worked his way into the top 10 there. In the 9th position, Robert Ballard Jr. in the 32 machine, rounding out the top 10. But really, it's still anybody's match here, as we kind of see. It looks like Emerson may go ahead and let the guys go on by and dial it back. Martin Plute and Jeffrey Goodpaster are still a lap down. I don't know. I believe they probably gave up that lucky dog position to Pitt. Once he pit, he kind of forfeit that position. But Martin Plute's still in the 15th position, doing a great job working his way up front, and kind of maintaining that position. But from what I know, people like Ben Mashburn right now are starting to get those jitters, starting to get one, getting a little racy out there, and starting to want to get a push. As you see, Mashburn works on the outside there. These 4 cars staying stacked up here. Really with Nick Alford there toward the inside, we've seen him getting in a little bit of trouble there. He wasn't sure if he was going to make it tonight, but he was able to make it and get out there in that car. So we're really excited to see him there out there in that 95 machine of the U.S. Navy. He's representing out there. I enjoy seeing that. A shout out to all the service members as we are coming up on July 4th. I hope everybody has a safe weekend, but right now this is what is happening right now. The fireworks will shoot after the race, but not until then, as we have 34 laps to go with Jack Wilkinson, Matthew Batby, and Ian Janik in the top 3 positions. And we still got a lot more race to go, but we are working on it here, Kynan.
Edward Marshall entering the travel did get into the 25's left rear just ever so slightly. But the thing that I took away from that was Mashburn was quick to get on the brakes, thinking there was going to be a wreck. Even though there wasn't, he's still heads up driving right now, just trying to keep his car together, whilst Riley Hoots just decided to keep his foot in it, and he's managed to make his way up to third on the outside, looking to pass the 89 and the 7 with help of 51 getting to his bumper as we go into the tri-oval.
Yeah, and really you just see the battle going back and forth between some of these guys. Where they are and where they're going to be is really just starting to become a little bit of a pile up there on the front. Kelly Thomas working the way up into the second position as Wilkinson gets into him. And once again, looks like another tangle up here. And I don't know if race control is going to have a little word here, but that is going to cost everyone in that pile up there. A whole lot of time and a whole lot of damage here, Kynan.
If someone still had their fast repair, they probably don't now.
Wow, yeah, and that is, that may be not exactly where you want this to happen. And we're gonna kind of see if I can get a good shot of this 7 machine here and see what exactly happened. He's there underneath Nick Alford there on the bottom line. Right there. Looked like Kelly Thomas checked up, got into the back, and then rides up into the 89 of Batby. And you know Batby's had a fast car all night and is now paying for that speed, I guess. As it gets collected, looking at Nick Alford directly in the window. Edward Marshall didn't see that coming, and Chris Darling looks like he gets collected again. As he's going to go ahead and slam into the 7 there. But really, what you should see now is the rest of the cars here in the backfield on the brakes. As you see Fetter Place, he's able to squeak just barely around. And some of these other guys are just trying to pedal through here. And that's not what you want. You've got to stop the car. I mean, you see we got 5 lanes wide of cars sideways. It's got to slow down. Man, really quite a tangle up here. And really a bummer. I don't know how much damage Wilkinson will have. We'll kind of keep an eye on him here. From our Goodyear blimp view, it looks like he's still in his pit road. Getting on there, but really, man,
seems
what trouble.
It was starting to happen very early on. 51 went to go down low to try past the 24, then covering him, but it caused the 51 of Kelly Thomas just to have to back up, but the 7 wasn't able to react in time, which then it starts to back everyone up, and then people then get into each other's bumpers, which then can cause the pile up that we saw. And then it started to then cause checkups from behind with people wanting to slow down, but then others not wanting to slow down, which then caused the second little pack to then cause a wreck.
Yeah, and some of the guys out there, I mean, you just see the pile-ups. We have Batby still in there. It looks like Brosecker still in there. Wilkinson actually drives off pit road. His car survives. So I guess not that much damage for him. As we see, the 3 cars still in there. Kind of getting tangled up. Man, just a bummer. Not what you want to see. We got a lot of drivers still on pit road here. With we still got 30 laps to go. Getting this thing kind of narrowed down and finished up.
A lot of cars involved, and throughout this entire race we've been seeing a lot of big pile-ups, so we should start to see the field really start to thin out now.
Yeah, and I believe my little thing is incorrect. We have 130 laps, but I have a different ticker telling me I have 31 to go, and it should technically be almost 40 at this point. But I am probably wrong. I am on a lapped car as we move up to Riley Hoots here, who is on lap 100, so he does have 30 laps to go. And we are 1 lap to green. Riley Hoots, Ian Janik, Nick Alford, Kelly Thomas up in the top 4. Brandon Fetterplace, nice to see him back up there in the 5th position. Edward Marshall 6th. And really, what a wild turn of events here, kind of, is just seeing how these guys are able to, keep this thing under control. As you see some of these guys, as I pull up our vertical ticker here, is the yellow numbers you see up there are actually the last lap these guys pit. So you kind of see a little different strategy here of how these guys are going to figure out how they're going to stay out there. Martin Clute back on the lead lap. Another great thing to see is seeing him back up there. Ben Mashburn, he is still on the lead lap back there in ninth, but you kind of see some of these guys and where they're pitting and where they're ending up are going to be two different things. So still a lot of race to run, but really, what are we looking forward to here, Kynan? What do you think? How do you think this is going to end?
Well, that's probably not going to be the last caution we're going to have. So, depending on who still has their fast repair and who doesn't, will determine who really has a shot at winning this race. You may be the fastest car. You may be the fastest car throughout the entire race, but if you're not the fastest car and don't have some fortune, some track position in the end, it can all end up in the wall for you.
Yeah, and we're kind of trying to get out there. Kind of working on this here a little bit as we are back under green flag. Riley, who's going ahead and taking off a great restart toward the front. Nick Alford back in the front where he started this race. He hasn't really been able to stay up front most of it, just because a little bit of internet connection and kind of tangling around back there in some of the field. But really, he's got to be glad to be up here in the top.
Being up in front does give you confidence, and especially if you can maintain it for multiple segments of the race, but if you can just keep a hold of your car. But we've seen the cars getting loose, so even though you may be up in the front, it doesn't mean you're exactly safe just yet.
No, not at all. Not one bit. As you see these guys kind of coming off that turn there, and you see once again, these cars just getting a little weird getting through. Now, if some of these guys didn't take tires, you're definitely seeing a heat cycling problem where you start getting the tires melted down, and then the caution laps cool them, so it causes them to actually get hardened again, which makes them slick instead of tacky and nice and sticky and starting to melt. So, and that's kind of what you're seeing out of this. But these new Goodyear tires do things a little bit differently. They don't 100% melt or throw off those chunks of marbles per se, but on the side they actually dust, as they cause a dust on the track, like a fine kind of dust, and that's why you'll see during cautions that the blower trucks are going around kind of blowing it toward the infield, is to stop it from being so slick out there, getting on that sort of stuff. But out there, Riley Hoots still out there in the lead. So out there for Shane. Your nephew's doing a great job so far.
Nick Alford decides to stay down low with Riley Hoots, 89, getting the run with the help of the 51, which those two have been working well together this entire race so far.
Ooh.
As Batby got very loose on exit, was able to have enough space and doesn't collect Alford, but still able to get that run. Might start to look at passing the 24, or he might just decide to just back it down a little bit and just try to keep it together.
Yeah, really a smart move there by Kelly Thomas. Batby got a little loose there. Let off the gas. Let him collect the car. And what ends up happening is when you don't have those veteran thoughts, you get pushing, Batby gets a little loose, you continue to push, and then around they go and you get collected in it. So, good idea for Kelly Thomas to go ahead and let out in that 51 machine and let him collect the car and get pushed back around.
William Britton able to get up to the back of Kelly Thomas, might be able to give them a bit of a shove on the back straight. Instead, looks to have backed up a little bit. Wilkinson starting to catch back up on the high line, but Batby decides to pull in front of their teammate just to work with them. William Britton looks to be wanting to pop down low as he does, leaving Kelly Thomas relatively on their own, just waiting for Wilkinson to maybe get to the back of them. But Wilkinson looks to be going down low. Kelly Thomas now should be looking to go down low, but instead staying up high.
Yeah, and really Wilkinson there we saw kind of getting a little loose coming off 4 there, aiming for that tunnel turn. So I don't know if a new set of tires right here is what you see. Is that car is on a move again, lined up for that. Whoa, man, sorry about that. It was just such aggressive moves out there, and nothing really fluid about what Jack Wilkinson's doing there. Just kind of real herky-jerky around, being able to get out there. And we've seen a couple tangle-ups because of things like that. and I think it's things that people just don't expect. But really, Brandon Fetterplace holding his ground, staying there on the inside, but still a tough tangle up here.
William Britton able to just get below the 25, who seems to just be wanting to roll back a little bit. So luckily the drivers have now decided to go a bit more single file, start riddle off some laps, but I'm sure we're soon gonna see them go back to 2, maybe even push it 3 wide very soon. Alfred starting to blink a little bit again, but having a bit of space with William Britton, just giving him that bit of buffer.
Yeah, and Alfred and Hoots have been going at it for a few races before. As I think these guys have raced side by side before, and give each other the room they need, but not too much to where it gives the upper hand to one another. As we can see, a fantastic job by these guys here in the top 5, being able to keep this thing under control and under green. Really, there you got to watch out. Is really, what does Alfred have up his sleeve at this point? I don't think you can count him out, but he is one to watch out for and see if he can get up front here.
In the money race, we saw the 89 sticking and being loyal to the 24, even on the final lap, which did get the 24 to win. So if roles are reversed, we might see the 24 repay that by pushing the 89 to a win tonight.
Yeah, very interesting there. Kynan, what are you showing at this point? I right now have Matthew Batby actually a lap down.
Right now, yeah, Batby seems to be a lap down. So
okay, so the guy in 15th place is in the lead.
Only at Daytona you see that.
Yeah, that's all right, but really, he's still got to work his way up and stay up front there, to get this thing back back there. But he was 2 laps down and is now only 1 lap down. So even if there's a caution, this will wrap him around. And Jack Wilkinson is actually the last guy, or the first guy on that is 1 lap down. So Batby will still be a lap down if another caution does arise. But right now, 22 to go. Riley Hoots in the lead, Nick Alfred behind him, and William Britton there in the 3rd position. Really seeing
Alfred
these guys push around there. Is Nick Alfred still having that little bit of a blinking problem there, but none worse for the wear there, kind of.
For now, but when we start to get down to the more dying stages of the race, William Britton might decide to stick with Alfred, even with the blinking, which if he does get to his rear bumper and Alfred does disappear at the wrong time, it can hook him and spin him into the 24. Or it might just drive through, which then causes who knows what could happen at that point. So even though we may be single file right now, we still also need to make a pit stop, so it's still anyone's game.
And hopefully some of those drivers out there have saved some of their tires here, to go ahead and have that last set to go and give it a good run. It looks like another driver goes ahead and peels off there and starts heading down pit road. Maybe going ahead and making that pit stop now and getting it out of the way. But that which should push Martin Plute up here into the 5th position. And he is staying true to his word up there up front. But him and Chris Darling, their 5th, 6th position, working their way up. Don't count Martin Plute out yet. I definitely expect to see him with a podium finish, but he's still got 2 guys in front of him at this point. Brandon Fetterplace and William Britton up there. It is not going to be an easy battle there. Is not only that, he does have some lap cars. It looks like Goodpasture there and Emerson. So, and Wilkinson in front of him too. So it almost seems he kind of camps out here a little bit. If there is a caution, that it will go ahead and put these cars in the back and give him a chance to get a good shootout up here toward the front, kind of.
Obviously, with there being lap cars in the way right now, it adds more chance for something weird to happen, but with them being single file for now, it means that it's a little bit safer. But if you can keep your car together, especially with these dying stages, whilst everyone else cars start to expire, you can have a better chance at winning. But just having these lap cars in the way right now is adding a bit of a mix to it.
Yeah, and that it is, and really what you got going on here. But, I think some of these drivers are starting to kind of get wound down and starting to kind of tucker out. And this is a great shout out for Dubby here. Even one of the guys out in the chat, A Paul B1237. Too bad the Red Dragon one isn't up here on the screen, because he says that's the one who keeps him up all race long. So really, he says this stuff works, and that I assure you, everybody's got to give it a try, because 130 laps here, this stuff will wear you down and definitely make you hungry after that, which is where we get to Captain Jack's Smokehouse, another fine sponsor of the High Octane Sim Series here. And once again, back to Admin Box. Fine piece of equipment you got to have if you're a league administrator, especially running here, or if you're race control. Being able to just give that quick click, go ahead, fix iRacing's little hiccups that they have, or even if you want to create your own kind of stage racing, things like that. Admin Box is the place to be. That's Admin Box with 2 X's, and we will give you a coupon code of 10-4-box, and that's with 2 X's. And that'll get you the coupon code, knock that thing down to 125. Some of those button boxes get up over $300, but that one being a 125 with the quality, that it is a steal here, Kynan. But right now, stealing is Riley Hoots up there in the front, still retaining that lead with Matthew Batby with a lap down and able to keep his teammate out in front of Nick Alford here. I'm assuming that Nick Alford's just kind of letting the time tick away. Make one more pit stop and see if he can change this up a little bit and try to take him on a restart.
Yeah, Alfred seems to just be riding as well as a lot of other drivers. William Britton is also a driver that we can't exactly count out just yet. They most likely took their fast repair in that last big wreck, but just putting himself in the position he is now, he is in a good position to maybe capitalize if Alfred and Hoots get together on the final lap for say. If that does happen, he'll be in a very good position, but still a bit too early to call right now. Coming to 14 laps to go in this race, still need to make a green flag pit stop if a caution doesn't come out. If a caution does come out, then what do? Do you take tires? Do you still have tires? Do you have damage that you still need to repair? Still a lot of questions to be raised, as William Britton does look to the outside of Alfred. Better place might go with him, it seems to be. But with doing that, you're going to lose momentum, and you can see how much of a gap that has caused Hoots and Batby to be able to pull out, as William Britton is able to pull up into second place, followed by better place.
Yeah, and I would totally assume that the Riley Hoots and Batby are going to just stay in the position that they are. Riley Hoots isn't losing anything by this draft. He's appreciating it for the fuel mileage and things like this. But if I were Batby, you almost want to hang out here while everybody pits to get that lap back. And then he's going to have to pit a little bit later or hope for that caution, because he's still out here running. We got 14 laps to go. So, time is starting to knock down for Batby to save this one and take home a win. Although he is in the front, I mean, he's showing he's the fastest car out here, but he's got to wait for that caution to get him that lucky dog spot, or if he can pit now and then hope for a caution, that'll get him back on the lead lap. But right now, I mean, this is starting to become a tumble up for him, whether he can or if he cannot. But most of this field here in the back half is already starting to consider pit road as a big option. Nick Alford already went down there and decided to pit. It looks like Wilkinson, I believe, went ahead and decided to pit as well. But Wilkinson is on a lap down as well. But really, Fetter Place up in the front position. But these guys are starting to fire down pit road, and now is crunch time. How many of these guys? I do not see any cars going up. So no tire changes from these top 3 cars that you see out in the front. So, if you had an extra set of tires here, would you end up throwing them on right now?
I wouldn't, personally. I'd want to get as much track position as I can. Hoots did lose out a Fetter Place, so maybe having to take a little bit extra fuel than Fetter Place did, but as Batby loses it coming out of the pits, might bring out a caution. Multiple cars have spun off around the place, but we stay green for now.
Wow, and that is going to be absolutely detrimental. to some of those drivers out there trying to get back on this lap, is seeing them spinning out the way they were. So Riley Hoots having to get under control and back out in front as Nick Alford goes out and passes him. He's got to slide down and get back in that aerodynamic bubble there. Otherwise, he's going to lose them, and they're going to get away. So he's got to reel them back in. As it looks like, I believe that's Isaac Emerson out there. That Alfred's going to try to use a little bit of that draft and see if he can get them pulling away.
It was a very messy situation, but what that has done is has completely broken up that chain of cars, which could have been very strong in the end. Alfred pitting that little bit earlier was able to then be in clean air, and then with that happening, it gave him the track position to really be able to take charge over it. But Isaac Emerson and Wilkinson are not on the same lap, so he is surrounded by 2 lap cars who have come together earlier in this race, if you remember. But having those extra couple cars around him are just gonna be enough to maybe pull away from Hoots, unless Fluke can get to the back of him, which it seems like he will be able to. So that and having Darling right behind him are going to be able to, or should be able to push him up and start to challenge Alfred for the win.
Yeah, but right now, Britton is up in front, 37 seconds ahead of Nick Alford right here, and is starting to dial back. Trying to stay in the draft here to see if he can keep it collected. As I will pull up the vertical ticker here, is actually you see what lap they pit on. So Alford and Hoots and 117, 118, Martin Plute 113, Britton pit back on lap 100. So he is trying to stretch this thing 30 laps, and I just don't know if he can do it, but he's got to watch his timing. I mean, he's sitting here in the draft. He's liking the draft. It's working for him and allowing him to stretch this fuel just a lot farther than some of these other drivers were that were out there in the fresh air. But we are under caution.
Nick Alford was involved.
Let's see where he is.
Trying to be a bit too aggressive on the pushing.
We will roll up that replay, and this is going to change everything. That is going to change everything right now.
Riley Hoots was lucky to get by that.
Yeah, this happened a little bit ago as they get tangled up. Maybe a delayed caution there. But we are getting collected up. Get you the best angle here from the 10-4 broadcasting booth. And I believe I have it. So here is Emerson up in the front. And it looks like Nick Alford behind him as we're going to take a peek and kind of see what happened here. There's the rub.
Just being a bit too aggressive on the pushing, especially on corner entry. It just got the 92 of Emerson loose and then just stacked up.
Wow. I was going to say, I think that's Plute who got tied up too. Yes, it is. As we're going to get another angle of this for you and see exactly what happened. Is if you look, when we get to the replay here, it looks like Alford is able to maintain, is kind of keep it together when it happens. I'm trying to see if we can kind of look here. He does rub Emerson here. Emerson bounces up and kind of connects with him. Alford, but watch Emerson. Breaks loose again with the no touchies. And then after that, around we go. So, yeah, I don't know if maybe trying to recover, if something happened there, and then all of a sudden send him back up the track. But, man, yeah, that looks like Martin Plute, hit him broadside. Absolutely nowhere to go. And that just absolutely, that's probably going to ruin Martin Plute's night. I think that may do it for him. But we're going to take a little cockpit ride with him and kind of see what he saw and really, did he have anywhere to go here?
I mean, you can see how little visibility you do have for if something does start happening in front of you.
Yep, that's it. There's nowhere to go.
Can happen just as quick as that.
Wow. And really maintaining calm. I'd be punching the steering wheel and everything else without no fault of my own, but really just nowhere to go, and you can't you can't undo it. You know, the damage is already done. It's just how much damage and how bad is it going to be. As it looks, if we kind of keep an eye out there, it looks like Martin Plute may have brought it into pit not once, but he's brought it in twice. So he is now pitting again and trying to collect this car. And Emerson might be out of the race for that one. With that broadside hit, there is probably going to be some massive damage on that car, and we'll keep tabs on him. But right now, Riley Hoots in the lead up here, up front, and what a run this has become. You know, early this is starting to jam up some of these drivers, and I think if any of these drivers are here a lap down, this is going to kind of push them and give them the wave around, get them another lap tick off, and that'll get Riley Hoots up there into the front behind the pace car where we've seen him most of tonight. Ooh, as he has a little Nick Alford moment there and blinks. But talk about a crazy turn of events. Jeffrey Goodpaster, who was a couple laps down, is now in third, and we also have Ben Mashburn up here in the fourth position. You know, and just I might actually have that backwards. I think Ben Mashburn's in the third, Jeffrey Goodpaster in the fourth. Check that out. Christopher Darling in the fifth, and Nick Alford there in the sixth position.
Mashburn has been having a bit of a quiet race, just keeping his car together. Wrecks have been happening all over the place, but he's been able to keep his car relatively clean. Besides that one little messy situation very early on in the race, he's had a very clean race. Just been biding his own time, and look where he is now, up into third, and exactly where he wants to be. When it comes to green, we're going to have 5 laps left.
Sorry about that, as we went to a quick commercial there of Admin Box, one of our fine sponsors here at 10-4 Broadcasting, and really another sponsor of this league. Is we believe in the High Octane Sim Series so much, we even had to put them on the car. So, you know, I mean, really, I enjoy seeing these guys race week in and week out, and it looks like there's going to be a delayed yellow here. As it looks like probably some of these lapped cars and some of these guys are we're having trouble getting around. And it looks like a little mix-up here. Even looks like, I know Kelly Thomas is one of those ones trying to get filed in where they're supposed to be. So iRacing does have some trouble with that sometimes, being able to figure out where they need to be and where they don't need to be. But you can see this has cost Batby big time, as he is still 2 laps down back here in the 15th position. If he had stayed out there in front of Riley Hoots after that pit stop, he had been he'd have had a heck of a shot. But I just don't think tonight was his night, and just kind of you know, kind of just bad timing, bad position, just, you know, wrong place, wrong time, and it is what it is. But man, they're just trying to get this thing going here, as it looks like Shane Hoots out there. I know Batby's a great driver. Like I said, I just don't think tonight was his night. You know, just he got tangled up in too many of those accidents there in the backfield. But, you know, right now in the front is Riley Hoots, who you should be happy about, is up in the lead and will have 5 laps to get it done. Keep in mind, he has the Max Graphics racing team behind him of Chris Darling there, and Ben Mashburn are definitely going to be trying to push on this inside edge. So I do not count those guys out. That inside line is going to give him the push of a lifetime, and I hope he's ready for it. Pace car pulls off the track. Geico restart zone on Riley Hoots. Loud pedal down. Here we go. As Ben Mashburn goes ahead and gets right behind him. Chris Darling has to be very careful right there as he gets ready to get cut off there. Wow. He's ran out of real estate there as they go ahead and cut in. And now he's going to have to dial it back. Sit there in the 4th position as the 25 car. I'm not 100% sure. I think that is Ian Janik there. Goes ahead and moves there toward the bottom.
Went to move high, but didn't have anyone to go with him, as the 11 wanted to stick with his teammate.
Yes, and you will see that out of Chris Darling before. He does kind of, if he's got an inch, he'll put a fender in it. So he lets you know he's there. Nick Alford stuck there on that outside line. We see definitely battling, trying to get up front as we come across the line. So you got to be excited as we're coming down with 4 to go. Riley Hoots, Ben Mashburn, Chris Darling, Jeffrey Goodpaster, and William Britton to round out your top 5. Kelly Thomas, very close in that 6th position, but definitely got, running out of time. These guys got to work to get up front, as I fully expect to see another caution because it looks like somebody's starting to get loose back there in the Fetter Place position. But really, as they're firing down this backstretch here, Kynan, you got to be thinking, this race is getting close, pedal to the metal.
Now it's time to go. You'll see the point now where they're going to be getting to each other's bumpers and they're going to stay locked. There's no lifting from here. You're going for the win as caution comes out.
Oh, no. No.
Edward Marshall involved. Redenius involved.
Oh, man, and he has massive damage on the right front of that car. Yeah, that's going to hurt. As we will bring up that 10-4 replay, and I know Riley Hoots has got his head, his head between his hands right now, trying to figure out what do I do to get through the last of this race. As another caution comes out, I know somebody out there is asking which caution we're on. I am sorry, I do not have that count for you tonight. I'm sure we're over 8 at this point. I know one of our other producers does run a ticker that will tell you some of those cautions, but we will see him later on. He was supposed to join me tonight, but he's a little busy. But we are going to come to this replay. Let's take a look at Edward Marshall here. Looks like Fetter Place comes down into the 8 car. And like we were talking about, Batby, not his night, just jammed in there. Actually sharing the same spot with Martin Plute.
Fetter Place getting far too much damage. Broke the steering, broke the half shaft, so he wasn't even able to drive into the pit, so he had to get the tow. That will be race over for him.
Wow. Yeah, as we're going to kind of take another peek here. Let's ride along with Martin Plute, as we've seen before, and let's see what he had to see, because, man, he just caught up in another one here as we take a look at what Martin Plute sees.
You can see him decide to go down onto the low line, and then this all starts happening in front of him. No time to react.
Wow. And you just see how fast it happens, and just the speed at which it happens, nowhere to go, and just an absolute bang up, getting that thing under control. As we're going to take one more look at what in the world happened here, and I'm trying to see what role Fetter Place played in any of this. In that 20 machine, right here in the white and purple car. It looks like 99 gets a little loose there. Rides toward the top, and then, yeah, he might have just overcorrected because he was nervous there. And then just not enough. Yeah, I believe Martin Plute, I believe he has said his car is now dead. There's nothing left to his car. So I know a lot of drivers out here, that's going to be at the end of their night. And you hate to see it when you get so close to the end. You've made it 128, 129 laps, and this is where you end up. With 3 to go, and I mean, just that's it. Now you're done for. But I guess that's why they say it pays to be up front, because you kind of see what's happening going on in the backfield. But yeah, that was a massive tangle up there, kind of.
And more importantly, Fetter Place getting involved is going to be very disappointing for him. He was running fairly well. He then backed off a little bit. It was almost like he was trying to save his equipment, but then he tried going forward, but then being around lap cars, you're always a little bit anxious around them. But then just ended in the wall and couldn't even drive back to the pits to take a fast repair, even if he had one.
Yeah, I'm looking to see how many, as we have at least 10th place where Martin Plute is. He's down pit road. I know Fetter Place in the 11th is down pit road. The 99, the 8 car is down pit road. Just how many cars? Edward Marshall down pit, Batby down pit. 92 of Isaac Emerson is still 9 laps down, but I believe he is still rolling around. So his car still survived, but it's just but he's back here on lap 120. So, I think 16th place may be the best he's going to be looking at here tonight. But pace car lights are off, and they are getting ready to fire this thing off one more time. This will be a green-white checkered. So what that means is as we pass the finish line, they're going to get underway. We're going to do it like a normal restart. When they come to that finish line, white flag. And then whatever happens, happens. If these guys end up in another tangle up and mashing cars up again, it's the race continues until the checkered flag is in the air. But right now, Riley Hoots in the front, Ben Mashburn in second, Christopher Darling third, and Jeffrey Goodpaster in the fourth position. William Britton in the 64 going to want to make things happen. Right now, Riley Hoots is the man to get it done out there in front. So we're going to see if we can keep this thing all in one piece as these top 10 to 12 cars try to keep their car in one piece as we are 3 wide here. Goodpaster, high line, Ben Mashburn in the center. But Ben Mashburn is never scared to go ahead and keep it because he knows his teammate Chris Darling down on the bottom will keep his line. So these guys holding it together. As you see right there, the spin, I do not know if that will bring out a caution there as the spin toward the infield. Boy, he is not happy about that one as he's able to kind of hold it and get back through the grass. And that'll move that car back. But right now, Ben Mashburn working that inside. Riley Hoots feeling that on the bumper as they are coming up to the white flag if they can keep it together. Let's see. All right, Riley Hoots still out front. White flag is out. So this is the last lap, ladies and gentlemen, of the High Octane Sim Series. Ben Mashburn pushing, keeping Riley Hoots out front. You do see he does work his way up to maintain. Oh, and they collect each other. So Riley Hoots is now in the back, and it is not going to be good for him as they tangle up even more. So Jeffrey Goodpaster, like I said, white flag, anything happens from here on out. Hopefully we weren't going to see a demolition derby. But we did just there. Christopher Darling in the second position. So Christopher Darling, if he wants to make this happen, he only has one less turn to do it. Works toward the inside. Does he have enough speed? Jeffrey Goodpaster cuts him off. Fantastic job as you see Christopher Darling.
Darling's going to get him
working
on the
his way to the outside. Can he get him? And he might have passed him right there at the end. And he got him. He got him. Christopher Darling with a fantastic move right there at the end. Brings home the win. Holy cow, did you see that? Where he made that cut toward the end. Holy cow. As they
on
get ready.
corner exit.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can
fake
roll
him
that
down.
back to the finish. How he rolled through that.
Darling just looked on corner exit. He went down, faked the 33 into going down to defend, which then he quickly snapped back up to the outside and was able to carry enough momentum and just was able to get past and then carried that momentum around and barely clinched out at the line.
As we get right there. Holy cow, look how close. And steals it from Jeffrey Goodpaster in the 33 machine. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is as close as it can get, as that is a photo finish. Christopher Darling takes the first win of the regular season in the High Octane Sim Series, and I am blown away right now. It looks like Christopher Darling, Jeffrey Goodpaster, and Ian Janik right there in your top 3. Holy cow, that was close.
The 33 end up gaining 24 positions in the end.
And he was a few laps down at one point and was able to fight up and still play second. That was absolutely amazing on that job by them. But we are going to catch up with some of our drivers out there. Wow. I mean, just... wow. That was amazing how these guys got around the track. And Christopher Darling, I did not think had it there, right there at the end. I mean,
He
there
was
was
in many wrecks.
yeah, and he got spun out, tangled up, banged around, and was able to kind of keep it all in the same piece. Holy cow. Wow. Wow, as I am working on collecting some of our drivers here toward the end and seeing if we can get a quick chat in with these guys. Holy cow. And I believe you are catching up with our third place finisher right here. And let me see if I can get him squared away for you. Should be Ian Janik right there in the 25 machine. Ian, you got a copy?
I do.
All right.
We,
Yeah,
we
go
saw
ahead.
a lot of carnage going on out there. Was there any point where you thought that your race was over and done for?
Multiple times, yes. Luckily, I was able to just keep myself out of it.
Was there ever really a point that you had thought that your car was too much damage and you wasn't going to be able to really get back out there?
No. The only point I really got heavy damage was the first wreck, and I used my fast repair right away. So luckily, I kept it clean the rest of the race until the finish there.
Yeah, we saw you kind of drifting up on the 7 and did make a bit of contact. Did you think it was going to be a little bit higher up, or was it a little bit of a strategic advantage?
Well, I'm sort of his teammate. I wanted to side draft him, and I went up a little too high and just clipped him.
It's easier mistake to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still a fantastic race tonight. I mean, you placed third here at the first race of the High Octane Sim Series, and here at 10-4 Broadcast, and I am beside myself at the finish that happened tonight, and kind of how you made it through that final spin out, really right there at the end, was really something. I know everyone expects to win, but did you expect to get anywhere here in the top 5, let alone the podium position?
No, my plan was really just to kind of hang back and survive the race. I didn't think I'd be in a podium at all tonight.
Yeah, it was really a fantastic running out of you tonight, and we are. I am glad to be here and be able to see it. But next week, you guys are at New Hampshire, at 195 laps there. How are you feeling about that track?
I don't know. I have never ran New Hampshire on iRacing, so it's gonna be an interesting experience.
Oh man,
I'm aiming for at least a top 10.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I always try for consistency. I can never seem to win, but if I can get consistent top 5s or top 10s, I figure I'm in a good running at the end. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but fantastic run tonight here at 10-4 Broadcast, and we go ahead and let you go ahead and give us some of those shout outs you have for the people watching and the sponsors you have on the car.
Well, I don't have any of my friends watching, but I'll give a quick shout out to Milwaukee and Martin Guitars.
Martin Guitars, what are they all about?
They make acoustic guitars mostly.
Alrighty.
They're one of my favorite companies, so I picked them for a sponsor this year.
Excellent. Can we find them on Facebook or?
You can find them pretty much everywhere. They got every sort of social media.
Okay, cool. So Martin Guitars. So make sure everybody goes there and checks that out. And Ian, fantastic job tonight, and we hope to see you next week at New Hampshire.
Thank you. You guys too.
Alrighty, and Kynan, that was Ian, and really we got to talk to Jeffrey Goodpaster here, which is an absolute blast out of that guy. You know, seeing where he came from and how he got here. I mean, just is an absolute mind-blowing experience how Jeffrey Goodpaster got his way up into the second position and unfortunately missed it by just a fender. Jeffrey, got a copy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh man, dude, what a run that was here tonight. You were a couple laps down at one point. You got stranded up on the high line a couple times. We kind of, we had our eyes on you there, and somehow out of the midst of all this, these cars bashing and banging and turning into a demolition derby there, you end up here in the second position. I mean, I know you wanted to come away with the win, but what could you have done different to kind of block Chris Darling out of that one?
I don't think I could have done anything differently. It was either drag race to the checkered, or it was either bump and bang. I didn't want bump and bang, rather just drag it out to the finish, and he evidently got me by a couple inches off the bumper.
Yeah. Now, did you ever have any feeling during the race that there was no way you were going to get up toward the front?
Oh, I was confident, because there's a saying, when you're down, never give up. You'll be right back up there.
Man, I was going to say, with as much bumping as banging as you did you have to burn through your fast repair?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
After I got into that wreck in turn 3, yeah.
Okay. I was curious how some of these drivers out here went. Do you know about what lap you used your last set of tires?
That I don't know.
Okay. I just know some guys, that last stop was a fuel stop for most of those drivers out there, and I wasn't sure if anybody had kind of sandbagged a little bit, rode in the backfield, didn't take tires during one of the stage breaks to save it up for the shootout here toward the end, because your car was on a rail. I didn't see you slipping and sliding much here tonight, and I didn't know if, you kind of played a little gamble there and took tires much later there in the race.
Honestly, I think by the end of the second stage, I had used up all my tires, and rest of the time I was just taking my time, buying my time, and not burning them up.
Cool. So last season, you guys raced with the Xfinity or the Cup cars out here. How was it running the next gens here at Daytona?
That I don't know, because I wasn't here last season, but I can honestly say from other leagues that I've done, Xfinity cars are a lot different in the draft than these next gen cars, because in the next gen, when you lose that draft, you're done. You're done.
Yeah, we did see a couple of drivers like Martin Plute getting out of the draft there. I believe Britton at one point kind of went and rolled back in the field, and then lost the arrow, bubbled there at the back, and then just, yeah, it did. It kind of killed him there right at the end. But regardless, you ended up in second position tonight, and really a fantastic job there in that Miller Lite car. Go ahead and give us some of the shout-outs for some of the guys that have been watching you here tonight, and for the sponsors on the car.
I'd like to thank Miller Lite for being on the car for this season. Potential of another sponsor coming on. Stay tuned for that. And a big shout-out to my good friend Brian, who I work with at Amazon. He's been kind of giving me the finger every time I don't do so well when I come into work. So he's like, you need to do better yourself. I was like, okay, well, here we are.
Yeah, and really, what a fantastic job you did here tonight, bud. And really, new to the series, huh? And what are you thinking of it so far? I mean, I'm sure the cautions do calm down a little bit after the first couple of races. But other than that, how what do you think about the high octane sim series here tonight?
It's gonna be very competitive by far. It's gonna be hard to win.
Yeah.
I can just say that much.
Yeah, these guys definitely don't play, but right now you did a great job. New Hampshire, I believe, is next week, and almost 200 laps there. Have you raced there, and how confident are you feeling?
I'm about 50-50. I'm not so good at the next gen there at that track, so I'm gonna do some test runs this week and work on it a little bit.
Alrighty, and we appreciate you coming out here tonight. Jeffrey Goodpaster in that 33 machine, and we will see you next week, bud.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Thank you guys from 10-4 Broadcasting, and see you guys next week.
All right, thank you, sir. Really, and what a blast these guys seem to be, and really how they come around, and they're calm, cool, and collected. But right now, I'm going to run us to a quick commercial right here, and we will be right back. Alrighty, and we are catching up with our race winner tonight, Christopher Darling. I mean, just really that last lap sealed the deal. Is that what you were expecting? I mean, I've seen you make this move at Michigan, and kind of the same thing. You put people where you want them, and then you get the job done. I mean, did that just come naturally making that final pass there at the end?
No, not at all. Definitely the best circumstance I could have had was with him like a lane or so up the track off four. But man, I pulled out from him and my car just took off. I don't even know what happened. I haven't raced these cars enough, but that was awesome. That definitely had me pumped.
Yeah, and really kind of noticed you fell off between 3 and 4. I know, I kind of study how you drive because you, Ben Mashburn, and Martin Plute just seem to have this thing, on a rail, and you guys kind of sit back there in that aero bubble, and then the car starts winding up, starting to get a bunch of speed, and then it's, get out of the way, here they come, sort of deal. And that almost what it looked like, is you had 3 and 4 set up, and then just that sudden burst of speed. But I wasn't sure coming through that, that tri-oval right there, that last bend, if you thought that was going to happen. Have you seen the replay yet of how close that was?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it was really close. I definitely most times when you race to the line like that, a lot of guys just they sort of come up and give you a door or something. So I was kind of trying to go up closer to the wall. I wasn't sure how he was going to race that, and I just got to give him a lot of credit for racing that clean and letting us drag race to the end there. That was awesome.
Yeah, because you do see a lot of drivers. They're like, no, I got to have my first win, and they'll put you on the wall and sacrifice themselves to get that slide through. Uh, I think I've even got tied up with you at the Max Graphics Super Speedway one at Talladega. When we ran those 9 cars. But yeah, really, you and Ben Mashburn and Martin Plute. I thought you guys were gonna tighten up there right there toward the end. I knew you and Martin unfortunately got smashed up on the final caution, but Ben Mashburn, he got tangled up right there with Riley Hoots toward the end. I mean, were there any words said? I mean, I'm sure that's not what your team expected.
Not really. I know Ben wanted to win really badly. I had front end damage, at least a little. It doesn't look like it on the replay, but I went down pit road like 4 or 5 separate times tonight trying to fix damage and just come out ahead. And I was really content just sitting there. Ben really wanted to win, and I think he felt like he could do it, and kind of lost his bumper, so he couldn't really pull out and make a pass. And I'm not really sure if he bumped him or what happened there, but I don't know. That's their deal. I was lucky enough to kind of squeeze by, and that's sort of what set it all up for me. So I'll take that one, and yeah.
Yeah, I will have to combat you, though, on that, where you said you want to hang back and kind of take it easy. I mean, all night we've seen you even in the back, and you get tangled up, and you work your way back up front. And then you're back up front, and you end up in the outside line, work your way back, and you're tangled up again. And you still were able to battle back from adversity of your car being so mangled at points that, you trying to come back forward and secure the win with damage. I mean, that is something, and really some people should probably take note, rewatching this race of what you were able to do in so little time there, right there in the end, the last 10 laps, even the shootout here toward the end, Chris. But really, amazing job here tonight from the Max Graphics Racing team. You guys being able to get up front there, and you taking the win. But we are looking at New Hampshire next week. Will we see you here for that one, or is NSRA going to be where we're going to find you?
I'm here every Friday, so you'll be seeing me. I haven't really raced a lot of these cars too often. I'm usually Xfinity and trucks, so it's something new to me. So I'm gonna have to run a few laps and see how it feels. But I'm hoping I do well there. I usually do pretty good at flat tracks, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, and we'll see how that works out for you. There will be almost 200 laps there, so you got to be patient and take your time and be able to get around on that one. But go ahead and give some shout-outs. I'm excited to hear about some of the paint jobs you got working up for the Beer Street Journal series and things like that.
Definitely got to give a big shout out to the Beer Street Journal. Great website, pretty cool stuff on there. Check it out, beerstreetjournal.com. Big shout out, Max Graphics, of course. It's my painting site. Check us out. Um, Man, I'm drawing a blank on the sponsors here. I'm gonna admit I'm gonna be one of those guys. I don't know them all. I just want to give them a big shout out and thank them all for putting on the league. Definitely want to thank you guys and the admins. You're all doing a great job. So just looking forward to the full season here.
Alrighty, and Captain Jack Smokehouse and Dubby, they all appreciate that too, along with Admin Box. But Chris Darling, race winner tonight. Fantastic job, man. Fantastic job, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, and that is Christopher Darling in the 18 machine, beating Good Pastor in the 33 machine by a fender here tonight. And really, what a blast this race was. Once we got past some of those cautions, really that last shootout there, Kynan. I mean, just you've got to be thinking, holy cow, if this is what the first race of the season brings us, I mean, these next few races have got to be nail-biting.
We've got a short track coming up next, so it will be different sort of racing, but it's still going to be good, hard racing. So the only way that the viewers can be able to see it is if they subscribe. And if you enjoyed the stream, why not like the stream?
Yes, like, subscribe, join us in Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. Next week, we are looking at New Hampshire, 95 laps there, and that is going to be a heck of a shootout. And following that, July 15th, is we will be at the Rock, the one and only the Rock, the Rockingham, and that'll be over 255 laps at that one, and that one's going to be a fast track. That is a decommissioned track at this point. It is a very, very bumpy track, so seeing these next-gen cars with as low as they are, definitely we're going to see that front valance be hit, and we're going to see sparks shooting out from underneath, and door-to-door racing is going to be practically impossible, but we're going to make it happen here in the High Octane Sim Series. On behalf of myself, 10-4 Broadcasting, Kynan Jones joining us tonight, sponsored by Admin Box. We thank you for joining us here, and we will see you next week.